What's up, everybody? I'm Jeremy, and you guys are watching Inside the Coils. Tonight, we've got Zac Parpart from Husbandry Pro going to be joining us. He was on his way home from a show, so he's, give him a little bit of leeway, folks. Give him a little bit of leeway. I told him to take his time because he was going to basically be like just hauling his rear end, basically get home. I think he said he had like 15 minutes to put animals away before he had to be on here. So I told him just take your time. I figured, hey, I can carry the show for a little bit. You guys know how I like to talk anyway. And we've got some updates and stuff like that to go over. I do want to say go above here, folks. If you aren't using Husbandry Pro, right now is the perfect time to do it. Click that link and put in the code WARFELS60 to get your 60-day free trial of Husbandry Pro. We'll probably touch base, go through a couple odds and ends. I know I said I was going to start a Husbandry Pro series this week, like a midday type of live. This week literally got away from me, folks. Absolutely got away from me. I was doing some work on the snake room, and then just things got a little crazy, to say the least. Things got a little bit of crazy here. And also, I was going to do a member live on Saturday. I had to cancel that because my father-in-law had a heart attack. And lo and behold, it's right around the same time as last year when my dad had a heart attack. So you can imagine things went just, emotions were high. It was just crazy. My father-in-law is okay, though. He is home. And from the sounds of it, he's back to his normal self. So, thank goodness on that one. But yeah, so for any channel members that haven't been watching the chat, pretty sure I think I have everybody in the member chat there. If you're not in the member chat and you are a channel member, let me know, and I will get you in. But we're going to be doing the member live tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a big one too, guys, just because I'm going to be bouncing off some changes I'm throwing around about making. So I just want to get some feedback, see what everybody thinks about it. It's going to get the members involved a little bit more throughout the year as well. So it's going to be a good one for the channel members to be a part of. So hopefully as many of you can make it as possible. So that being said, let's go through here, say hi to some folks. We've got Clint, Tight Grip Pythons. What's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Good to see ya. Nikki, Irresistible Pythons. What's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Another channel member as well. S&K Exotic, Stefan, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. Tyson, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Tara, good to see you, girl. Thank you very much for all your thoughts and prayers and everything. Another channel member. And the bringer of the Yoo-Hoo for the Gettysburg show as well. Tara is super awesome. So thank you very much, Tara. Greatly appreciate all your love and support, and it's great seeing you. And we got one of the best OG channel sponsors anyone could ever ask for, Nathan. They're from Infinite Possible Pythons. Make sure if you guys need your banners, your tablecloths, anything like that, shirts, hats, this isn't one of Nathan's shirts, but I just had this laying out. But Nathan's shirts look better, and yeah, anyway. Hit Nathan up, and he'll get you hooked up, folks. Definitely get you hooked up. Stickers as well. He does it all. He does it all. If you guys have not seen my show, like my whole show setup, that is all because of Nathan, basically. That is all Nathan's work. So thank you very much, dude. Thank you so much for making me look like I know what the hell I'm doing as well. So that gets us caught up with who's at least chatting it up in the chat. So let's go ahead. We'll run the first channel sponsor here, and then I'll go through with some details as to what's going on here. So let's go ahead and run the first channel sponsor, guys.
Make sure you check out Nathan at Infinite Possible Pythons. He is your guy to go to if you want to get into the Bang project. On top of it, he's working a bunch of awesome ball python projects. Kahua geckos, Leachianus geckos, crested geckos, some scaleless corn snakes, and he is your one-stop shop for all your branding needs. So check him out. Check out Chris Shelley over at S Reptilia if you need a high-end ball python, blood python, locality boa, or colubrid. He's also Pennsylvania's distributor of Coco to Go and the Chipper, and he can also hook you up with some rats. So make sure you guys check out Chris over at S Reptilia.
Go check out the OG channel sponsors, guys. Greatly appreciate all their love and support. So, big thing for next week, guys, is the basically kind of what I'm calling the Christmas episode. Going to invite all of the channel sponsors on, and we're going to just kind of have a good time, kind of chill out, relax, bullshit a little bit, find out who's got what cooking, what they're excited about, all that kind of stuff. Also, it's going to be the episode where I air these, hopefully, at least I think they're funny, sponsor ads. So hopefully everybody else finds them at least chuckling, to say the least. It's been really hard to come up with some of this stuff for some people. So that's why I'm just kind of like, I hope this is as funny as I think it's going to be. Got everybody's done and recorded. Might need to do a touch up here or there on a couple of them, but the only one I'm having a hard time doing is Chris there from S Reptilia. Like, Chris is just too damn nice of a guy. I can't, I'm having a hard time finding a way to make funny ha-has at him. So hopefully I can come up with something. If not, it's going to be really freaking corny. So Nathan's was super easy though, folks. Nathan's, let me tell you, that was just too easy. John and Christine's was pretty. I had a little bit of trouble with theirs. Danny's was probably the easiest one there was. So hopefully you guys all enjoy getting to see them next week. Hopefully we can get the channel sponsors, as many of them as possible, to join in and hang out with us as well. Because that's going to be what makes it, is seeing their reactions after they air, and hopefully they're laughing. If not, I guess. I tried. James, Be More Exotics, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Barnes Family Pies. Rob, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Everybody, please make sure you guys do hit that like button as well. And if you're watching this and you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Please, greatly appreciate it. Hopefully the picture quality is a little bit better. I don't know how, when, why. I don't want to say why. I don't know how or when. But apparently 1080p is unlocked now for the tier that I am on StreamYard. So we're streaming at 1080p for all that it's worth. Hopefully the picture quality is a little bit better. But yeah, Melinda, Cuddle Time Critters, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. So some big updates here, guys. The breeding season for us is definitely off and running now. If you can't tell, right there, if I can figure out which way to point, there we go. Right there is Hercules. Now, he's up there with Celeste. They haven't found each other yet. Celeste ate a big old rat on Friday night, so she might still be a little digested a little bit. Hercules had 2 small rats. I was trying to get them that last good feeding before hopefully their brains kind of switch off and they slip into that let's go at it mode and make some babies. But Lagatha down here, you barely see her head sticking out from under the hide. She is deep. Well, she's coming out of shed. So once she does shed, Ragnar is going to be going in and visiting with her, and we're going to see if we can't get him to lock up. It will be his first season because he is last year's holdback. So hopefully he can get it done. He actually did just shed it. I'll show him off here for you folks. And so we're kind of killing a little bit of time here before for Zach to come on. Show Ragnar off here once for you. But hopefully this guy gets it done. So we'll see. We'll see. See if he gets it. I said it'll be his first year, so he's got plugs and everything. So he's at the like year and a half old, a little over a year and a half old at this point. So we'll see if he doesn't get it done. Nathan says, by the way, Jeremy, your snake is a complete a-hole. So anybody that doesn't know, and maybe if you've missed an episode or something like that, Xena, or Xander, a.k.a. Xena, is over at Nathan's place doing some breeding work. So I'm very... Oh, there's Zach. Zach's in the background. So I'm very interested. Nathan, elaborate, man. Elaborate. What is my beautiful boy doing over there that he's such an a-hole? If you were trying to get him out, there's a way to get him out without him being a douche. But what up, Zach?
How you doing?
We're doing good, bro. We're doing good. Trying to find out what. Apparently, Nathan's saying that Xena is an asshole.
Is it a carpet python?
Yeah, it's the one you keep bugging me for.
They're not assholes. They just have that high feeding response. You got to get them out, get them moving, and then it's like, oh, okay, now you can interact with me.
Xena's a little bit different. He's definitely there's a method to getting him out if you want to work with him. You've literally got to let him think, even though you're bringing him out, you got to let him think that he's doing it on his own will. If he feels forced in any way, dude, you are in trouble the whole time. You've got to make him think he's doing it under his own willpower. He is definitely a tricky one to work with, but once you've got him figured out, he's not bad. And the big thing is just getting him out is the other thing. Yeah. Once he's out, he's fine. But I'm curious as to what he's doing for Nathan.
Sorry, I'm late, man. Freaking traffic was killer. Just finished up the last expo of the year, expo number 33. I'm crispy and burnt.
So, what expo were you at?
I was at Lone Star Reptile Expo in Arlington, Texas.
Okay,
it's a good one. I believe it's the oldest expo in Texas. They've been in that location for 13 years, and Lone Star's been running for I think over 20 now.
Okay,
so it's a good one. It's very small. Like maybe 30 vendors in there. I think we had like 28 vendors this time, 29. It takes forever to get a spot in there. If you get a spot in there, you never leave.
It's one of those. Okay, it's one of those shows.
yeah. It's a steady Freddy show. It's like always like a reliably good show. Always something good to see. Very diverse, and people always come there to shop.
Nice. Now you were saying it was one. If I may ask, what all were you moving at the show? You said it was a really good show.
So mostly ball pythons. I have two tables there, and I had one table full of ball pythons and about a third of another table of ball pythons. And then I had some rainbow boas, some Colombian rainbow boas, some mountain kings, a few carpet pythons, some blood pythons. I sold a little bit of everything except for the mountain kings. If you're looking for mountain king snakes, reach out to me. They're having fits with those mountain kings. Like they're a little bit rare. They're a little bit rare to find and stuff. So the price point's a little up there and stuff for the pet customers. But I've sold a little bit of everything this weekend. Honestly, like I only sold one carpet python, but I sold one carpet python, two bloods. Okay. My last 2023 leucistic rainbow boa, and then a bunch of ball pythons. A slew of ball pythons on $200 and under, and then a nice little mix in there of like $300 to $600 pet snakes. People were shopping. This past week, this weekend and last weekend, both of those shows, it's like finally some people were like, oh, we're gonna buy some Christmas presents and stuff.
That was the big thing for the last show I was at. I thought this close to Christmas, I thought we're gonna be set. It's gonna be a good show, dude. It was free. Like, if you could figure out what the hell was going on in people's minds, I think you would have probably made more money by figuring people out than you would have selling snakes. It was just freaking weird shit, dude. Like, weird.
Well, it was having the right snakes at the right price point too. Like there was a lot of people at, in that specific show. I've done these shows, a few years in a row now, so like what specific animals I need to bring for the market, and it's like, oh yeah, you've got a bunch of $200 plus snakes. It's like you're going to do all right there. You've got a mix of those plus, and then like the low end stuff. It's like I sold 26 snakes this weekend, and I think 10 of them, 15 of them were under $200, $200 and less.
Okay.
Those numbers definitely pad and help, and being able to have that inventory. A lot of the other people in the room have noticed, who do a lot of shows, because the people who get in that show are people who do a lot of shows. And so by this time of year, we've worked through all of our cheaper snakes at other shows. And so a lot of those people don't have inventory for this show, or like the cheapest snake on their table might be $200, $300. And I'm like, I got snakes that just got ready. I had like a table full of snakes that were $200 and less. And it was just all like, they disappeared. I sold every single snake that was, I had available that was $150 or less.
Oh shit. See, the last show I was at, dude, it was like, I had everything from pieds and bananas and from 500 down below, I had covered out a couple that went up into, up towards that $1,000 mark. I had one with me that was over 2,000, but I thought I had a nice spread. What? Everybody came over. Every normal I took sold.
Pastels, discos, all gone, 100%.
See, the pastels didn't go. Pastel leopard went. GHI. What was he? GHI. Mojave. No, GHI leopard. I think it was GHI leopard. Anyway, GHI leopard. Might have had Mojave in there. I can't remember. So. I don't think I cracked $100 as far as per snake. Like the normals that were 20, that GHI leopard, I had him on sale for 80. Like it was just like really like people just grabbing the weirdest stuff. It's just like, get a pie, get something else. Like,
it's crazy to like get the feel on the market and stuff right now. Like there was a guy a row behind me, and he had 6 GHIs, and he sold 5 of those GHIs for $100 a piece.
Can't make that shit up, man.
People, like if people walk past, they're like, "Ooh, that's cool. That's worth $100 to me." They didn't look at Morph Market to see that, like you can buy one and order it for $60 and then have to deal with shipping, and they're in wait. And it's like this time of year. They're like, it's cool looking snake. It's $100. Cool. Here you go. Your kid wants it. Merry Christmas. Christmas thing. It's all like, oh, it was really nice though, because I was set up directly across from the enclosure people, and then directly across on the other side from the supply person. So it's all like, oh man, yeah, what are you trying to spend? I like my location there because I can walk right across the alley or the the little row and set them up with like best case scenario PVC enclosure from Recoil Reptiles, and with all the heat pad and everything. And if they don't have the money for it, I can be like, oh well, let's just step over here with the tank. I'll show you how you can modify it a little bit to get your humidity. And so like being able to help those new people who come in there like helps tremendously with sales.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of times if I've got someone that is getting an animal, they don't have their enclosure yet, I always send them over to Nathan because he's got these really nice little PVC setups. The heat panel's already there. It comes with the thermostat. It comes with everything. So he probably gets mad at me because he brings those to help, people buying his animals. But since I know they're there, and I know normally he's got a couple extras, sitting around there, I'm always just like, just go over to him. Like I'll walk you over if I need to, but go over, get an enclosure from him, and Normally by the end of the shows, he comes over to me and goes, "Hey, thanks a lot for getting rid of all my enclosures that I need for my animals." I got you, buddy.
I usually have something, but I'm out. I got to buy some more. I sold 100 enclosures this year at expos.
Oh, wow.
They're temporary. They were like this big by like this big, and I did a kit with a heat mat on a dimmer switch. Bag of stuff, I do a bag of Reptichip, I'm still a representative. So, I do a bag of Reptichip in there with a hide, a water bowl. So you got heat, hide, water bowl, PV, plastic enclosure. You're set.
Yeah. That's the whole kit and caboodle there.
Yeah. And it's just a cheap little kit, and like being able to, I'd do half price if they bought a snake from me. And so if someone did buy it, I didn't care because, I over doubled my money off of it. And if for half price, I think I made like $3 off of it if I sold it for half price. If someone bought it like a $300 or $400 steak, though, it was so cheap, I just throw it in. Like, oh, you don't have an enclosure? Oh, you don't have any more money? You can't buy both? I'm going to throw this kit in for you. I had $24 in the kit or something. It was just small little, just budget shopping and, being smart about what I bought and how I put everything together.
Yeah. No, it's a good thought. I mean, it was a good idea. Let me say hi here to some folks here quick. Sean Pinejoy, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. Kai, Lucas Landon Royals, what's going on, bro? Good to see you. Lindsay, Pico Pythons, what's going on? Good to see you, girl. And that catches us up. All right, dude. Now, I almost hit the end stream button by accident. That would have been real bad. So
all right, I get to talk about anything I want.
you could have talked, but no one would have heard if I would have hit that button. Do not hit the red button, folks. Don't hit the red button. I'm going to run this banner here real quick, though, while we're bullshitting a little bit here. So give us a rundown, Zach. What's going on over at Husbandry Pro? Like, what are some of the new features that maybe users that are currently using don't know, and or what are some features that have been added recently that maybe people that have tried it in the past didn't jump on the bandwagon for whatever unknown reason, which I think you're all crazy if you aren't using it, but whatever. To each their own. But so what are some of those new added features and stuff that you've got going on over there?
So we've got quite a bit, man. One of the big ones I want to talk about, some of you may be aware, is the addition of being able to order shed testing through Husbandry Pro now. That's powered by Charlie, Gray Rider, shedtesting.com. We love Charlie. So now, if you're a Husbandry Pro member or not, you can order your testing directly through Husbandry Pro. If you're a member, you can order it directly from your animal inside the system, which makes it easy. It's convenient. Our pricing is set up the same as Charlie's. So you can just order it right through there. When you send your test in and you get the results back in, they come into your Husbandry Pro. You get a notification in there. You get an email. You can click a little check button, to accept the results, and it's automatically going to update your animal once you've accepted the results. So you don't have to go in and edit it yourself when you're done. So, super added convenience. The thing, if you're not a Husbandry Pro member that people like, is we do have a forward-facing site where you can order shed testing, and it's the fastest shed testing order available. You can go on there and simply type in whatever kind of made-up ID number you want, pick the test you want, click pay through the credit card system or PayPal, process it. You get an email letting you know your results in a couple of days. You don't actually have to sign up, set up, do anything. You're not giving us your information beyond making the payment, and we don't capture your information there either. So you're not getting spammed by us later if we're doing sales. If you don't want to sign up for, Morph Market or Clutch or Husbandry Pro or anybody really, you just want to go and just order a test somewhere. We've got the fastest way to get it done. You can get your test ordered for any animal in under 10 seconds.
Freaking awesome, man. I know I do want to put out there, like there's promo codes, folks, that you can be using for Husbandry Pro, or not just for Husbandry Pro, but like you guys all know that I've got my own personal promo code with Charlie there right here, Carpet 15, guys. And you can now, if I'm not mistaken, you can now use that code through Husbandry Pro when you do your shed test order. Is that correct now, Zach?
So we were testing on that last week. Hopefully, I'll be able to do final testing and get that rolled out tomorrow or Tuesday, where your code will work. Adam Proppers, there's a few other people who use both of our systems. Those codes will be able to work in both systems going forward. I just finished testing on the credit system last week. So we'll hopefully get that finalized and try to get that rolled out maybe next week. We do have the holidays. We're really trying to get it out before the end of the year, before the competition is over. But, it just might be after the first if it doesn't go smoothly this week, because we want to make sure it works properly.
Yeah. Well, that's the big
someone ordering 100 credits. You don't want something to mess up on that.
Yeah. As I said, you want to make sure it's a polished product.
But we'll have the pick 3 too. We'll be working on rolling out that. So we'll have both of those when we roll them out. But right now you can do HP Shed 10, and that coupon code will get you $10 off your first order to run a test through Husbandry Pro and try it out. We encourage people to do it right now before the end of the year. Even if you don't have a sample to send in, if you know you're going to be testing something, you can go ahead and order your test, and you'll get entered in a drawing that we're doing. I believe the date we're doing the drawings on the 7th, but everyone who orders a test through Husbandry Pro, since we started offering testing through the last day of the year, if you order your test, you get entered in a drawing for $1,000, and it is good with one of 5 breeders. And you've got Billy from Mutation Creation. You've got Kittinger, Jason Kittinger, Amos from Amos Reptiles. You've got Bob Vuve, Bob Balls, and BC's Balls and Reptilia, Brian Carter. You can pick any one of those 5 people to use that $1,000 credit with. So there's even some people who don't have ball pythons on that list.
Well, dude, I'm more thinking that $1,000. I mean, in this market, you can get yourself a damn nice animal for $1,000. I mean,
yeah. We partnered with some really good people to get on that list, because I wanted, people who have a lot of animals, where you could get a couple of really nice animals for somebody, for our, your entry level breeders, or, a nice animal for like your mid-level breeders, or a good chunk off of like some really nice investment stuff with a couple of the breeders who have some really, really high-end stuff. So I feel like it should apply to everybody. They're going to have, and I looked around at like who worked what projects and stuff, and there's kind of a little bit of everything there for whoever's looking to get something.
Now, for the people that want the best Exantic line, is there a TSK person in there?
I would have to check on that one.
Figured I'd stop. Yeah, I figured if you would have fired back with a yes, I would be like, wait, what?
I'll have to check on Bob. On the other 3, I know I'm out. Now, oversights may have been made.
Dumb question. And it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't really matter. But did Husbandry Pro get Bob Vu to switch over to using Husbandry Pro?
Bob Vu recommends Husbandry Pro to anybody who's looking for something new to manage their collection. But no, Bob Vu is a pen and paper guy.
Okay.
Best I've got.
That's what I thought, but I was gonna say, damn, you guys finally got him to switch? Holy crap.
No, he's contemplated coming in to utilize our market that we've rolled out, which is something I'll talk about too. But really, it's not a full-fledged listing site. It doesn't have a lot of the features that would bring a lot of people over to use it just for that. And we're not going to build it out because we don't want Husbandry Pro to lose its identity as a husbandry site, and we don't want to raise our fees or anything. We look and try to add benefit and value where we can, while keeping costs minimal for our users and not, losing what we came here to do.
So I was actually, if we want to check out the storefront here quick, let me share my screen here once.
And while you're doing that, that's a lot of the stuff that we've been rolling out in the past few months. The new stuff we've been doing quietly is, features for your public storefront, like people's ability to subscribe to your store now. So people, if you're a collector level or above, you get access to a store. You have your own private store. And we've added features like people being able to subscribe to you. They get email notifications whenever you change prices or add new animals. I know every time Jeremy adds a new animal, he don't even know I'm creeping on him, but I'm creeping on you, Jeremy. And it's because I subscribe to your store. So no longer do I have to keep going, hey, what's your link? What's your link? I want to see if you've got new animals. You send a user your link one time and tell them to subscribe. Whenever you add new animals to your store, they get an email. And,
okay.
And so that's a nice touch that we've added in there. Plus, with the addition of this market you're about to pull up here, we still maintained the sanctity of like you send people your store link, they can't get to this screen that you're looking at right now. So you don't have to worry about sending them your competitor snakes whenever you send your store link still.
So can you see the store right now? Is it popped up on the screen here?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay.
Yep, this
All
is our market. And what this is just a culmination of every animal that is listed in people's public store. If you haven't opted to list your animal in the store, then it's not in here. Or if you haven't set up your store, then they're not in here. So it's not every animal that's in Husbandry Pro. It's just the ones where people have set up storefronts for collector levels and above.
And let's go look at this once here, because I was toying around in this actually right before I started the live up, because I was like, holy crap, there's actually that many carpets in this section this time, because last time I looked, I was the only person with carpets in it.
And I believe if you look in other snakes, you'll find some other carpets too, because carpet python is a category that we added after the fact. People who set them up in their custom categories or somewhere like that, they don't show up into carpet pythons unless they go in and change it to map to the new carpet python category. That's the reason we don't go in and add a whole bunch of categories all the time, is because of the problems with stuff like this.
Okay, that makes sense. I want to click on this one though. I'm gonna give you some spotlight.
Oh man, dude, don't pick on my carpet python pictures.
No. Dude, this is a beautiful animal. That is beautiful. I like on how it scrolls over. Now, does it do that automatically?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know if that's something you had to have selected or not, but no, dude, that's a beautiful baby right there. But then everybody you can go over here, you can see the currency.
Just sold him this weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Mighty Max. That's the one carpet python I sold this weekend, man. He has really nice contrast. He was one of my favorites. He was from a boo bag. He was a little boy.
I mean, there you can inquire through the store right here. You can buy it straight through. I mean,
and this is all stuff that we've been setting up, and this has nothing to do with the market really. Even if you don't opt to list your animals in our public market, your storefront has these options where you can set up the buy now, and you can integrate through Square, Swipe, or PayPal, and you can offer any one of those or all of those options for payments. You can now also set up a feature to take a deposit. We only have that set up as a default option. We would like to add a feature where you can set it up per animal, but at the end of the day, that's stuff that we would have to do that would lean towards the listing site, and we're just not going to focus on it. We're doing too much towards Husbandry Pro Next and getting that rolled out, and that's going to be the new hotness for husbandry and the business management side of it.
And that's one thing I wanted to see if we couldn't dive into a little bit tonight yet too. And here's the other thing too. You didn't have it on that one there, but you can also, there's an option to put a deposit down as well, folks. So you can put a deposit down, and then there's payment plans that are workable as well with some, with certain animals.
Yeah, and there's I believe when you click on it, it pops up little terms. Whenever you set up the payment plan option, it does give you an option to set up terms and stuff like that from how much your percentage you want. It depends on what the user has set up in there.
Maybe this is just giving billing information. Maybe you got to go in deeper into the checkout possibly. So
or the users that might not have set up any message in there.
I'd have to go, but I'd have to go and toy around, because I'll be honest, I haven't toyed around with it a whole lot on this aspect. I did get like the payment thing set up, and I thought I had specifics
Charlie?
out though. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me go here see what. All right, not many people chit chatting it up. They're all kind of tuning in, listening. Charlie, what's going on, dude? Thanks for tuning in. Good to see you, bro. Shittesting.com, guys. Market 15, use it.
But yeah, one of the plus sides of setting up this market that we were able to offer people is now that it has this centralized, this stuff now pulls to Google. So if you want to make sure you use your descriptors if you're utilizing this. A lot of people just use genetics. Those genetics don't pull with the Google search. Google doesn't read those on the page, but the descriptor where it says like leopard bee clown right there, that's in the descriptor. That does pull to Google. So if somebody Googles leopard bee clown, that will pull up as an option. It might pull up underneath the morph market option or some other listing site if they have the exact same too. But before that didn't happen with Husbandry Pro, and now it does. So people can actually search your animals and they can be SEO optimized with this new market feature. So it helps to get your animals out there a little bit. The public can go to husbandry.pro. If you scroll down to the bottom, there's a link where they can come look at it and stuff. But really, it's designed more for our Husbandry Pro users to go in and shop the other animals that are in the store and stuff and see what other people are selling. There's if you look up all the animals, I think we've got like 5,500 animals listed in the market right now. It's more of like a Craigslist kind of feel thing, like we don't vet any buyers. Anyone can find this. If you send them a list to your store, they can come on there, do the buy now, and that's on you. It's just like if you had your own website, if someone come on there and they clicked the buy now button, that's on you. You have to vet that buyer in whatever way you want to. So know that before you set up buy now features and stuff like that in here. It's not a listing site. And that's the reason we haven't added a bunch of bells and whistles and stuff. And we haven't increased any charges or fees for it either. It's
the one thing I like most about the Husbandry Pro store, and everybody, the link for my Husbandry Pro store is in the description down below. Go to my link tree. It's under available animals. But is the fact that once they go to your store, they're on your store. Like it's not like Morph Market where it's going to be every other animal under the sun that's on Morph Market. Once they're in your store, they're basically in your house, and you've got their full attention, and nothing else can really stray them while they're there, which I think is a big thing.
We were so serious about maintaining that where, you can send your link and, they can't come find your animal snakes, that if you're actually using the market and you go back and forth to somebody's store enough times, you'll end up getting locked in their store and you can't get back to the market unless you go back to Husbandry Pro. And there's really there was no way of fixing it short of removing the sanctity of your store. And we're all like, if you're going back and forth that much and looking into that person's store, and it's really it's a tricky bug. You have to go in the market, find their animal, then go view their store, then go back in there, then go back in their store. It'll lock you in there. And now you can't go back to the market.
Oh, okay. So I didn't know that.
If you're shopping around, doing normal basic shopping around, it all works just fine. But it's, just one little hiccup that's in there, like somebody put in a ticket for it. And it's all like, we have to change a whole bunch of stuff to make it not to go do that. And one of those things is, the biggest thing, it'd be so easy just to give a link anywhere in there where they click a button to get to the market. But once you put that in there, it's in your store.
Yeah. I do also like this part right here where the list of stores that are highlighted and being shown off changes on a regular basis too. So that way it's not like the same stores are there.
Yes, and this is a nice added feature. We haven't added this. We haven't updated the little bulletin board to show, what you get with your subscription levels and stuff. But it's an added feature that we added that is for breeder level and above. If you are a breeder level or a commercial level, if you have a picture for your profile picture, you're in that cycle and you get rotated through there. So collector level is the only people who can use a store who don't get advertised there. Or if you don't have a picture set up, there's some people who haven't set up their profile. We're not going to show a blank picture there. We filtered those out.
And then the fact that you can go view all and you can see everybody that's, got a Husbandry Pro store. And it's nice. It's very, very nice.
Well, and I liked the stores thing because we wanted to keep that separate because people are like, well, I want to search this person's stuff. It's like, well, come to the stores, find that person's store, go look at it. If you like looking at that person's stuff a lot, subscribe to it. You're going to get an email every time they add stuff. We didn't want to clutter up the animal page with branding information. Also, you've got some people like Leviathan does a really great job. Steven, he's on Husbandry Pro, and you look at he's branded it in the picture. He's got his logo and stuff. If you want it in there, you can get it in there. But we kept it about the animals over here, about the branding in the store over here. So, come do what you want to do over here. Do what you want to do over here. Yeah, nice, simple work.
It's a nice little touch, dude. It's a very nice little touch. And the one thing I do want, it is to me still the biggest selling point with Husbandry Pro, is the fact that if you buy an animal from me or I buy an animal from you, you can send me all that information on that animal, and it comes directly in. Like that to me is just irreplaceable.
Oh yeah. And I've had a lot of asks for filled it out on the market and stuff, and but realistically, a lot of people said, I don't want my prices going up. We've listened to complaints from other people who have software in the reptile industry and what people complain about them, and the number one thing they complain about is new stuff getting added that they don't want to use, and then the price goes up, and they're having to pay for stuff they don't want. And so all of this stuff that we add that in any way goes away from the core husbandry stuff is stuff you can easily filter off in the, in the menu. It's stuff you don't have to use to operate our system properly. We've added it into the price without adding anything for it. That was all, it was a free thing. I volunteered 100% of the project development and oversight for the market just to get it done at no cost to the users and stuff. Just for some on-the-job training to work at other stuff with Husbandry Pro. I did that working with one of our new internet guys. And so doing stuff like that and using it as a training, I'm able to add that stuff in there for free. Lots of places aren't doing stuff like that. If they're adding stuff like that in there for you, you got to pay for it.
I see. Yeah, you're going to see it on the back end somewhere. Yeah,
that work and effort comes from somewhere.
Charlie, what's up, dude? Thanks for tuning in. Good to see you, bro. Charlie, I was going to wear the shirt again that you sent me, dude, but I didn't feel like being in witness protection again tonight. It was bad. It was last week's episode. I felt like witness protection. I felt like the guy in the shadow. Just couldn't do it 2 episodes in a row, dude. But everybody go and vote for Charlie at Reagan Renee Royal Pythons for that the 15 minutes of lame thing. I know.
Or Josh and Alicia.
Man, I gotta stick with my bro Charlie on this one. I just
can't help it. They're affiliates. They're in our partner program. We do business stuff together. Here's the homies. They're homies. I used to work with Tom. I worked with Tom on a bunch of stuff too. We were trying to put a bunch of projects together in the past, and I just love Tom to death too.
See, I didn't know Tom at all, but as much as I hate, because everybody knows on how this whole 15 minutes of lame thing, I think is a bunch of. It's a high school popularity contest, in my opinion, putting it nicely. But I do gotta support my bro, so go over there to Charlie. Put the link there in the chat for me, dude. But go give Charlie a vote, guys. And I think he's actually killing it as far as it comes to the popular vote. I might be wrong. Last time I looked at it, it looked like he was still double everybody else.
Oh, yeah. I looked this morning when I was voting. He's at 31, 32% or something like that.
Yeah, but dude,
how do you not know? Have you not been voting, Jeremy? You just told on yourself. It tells you right there when you vote, Jeremy.
No. But see, all right, here's the thing. I don't vote every day. I will and everybody knows that I will not do this. The whole thing that it grinds my gears to even speak of it, just because I'm just not the biggest fan of it. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, but the votes that I do because I'm supporting a friend. I just can't be full on supportive all the time.
I try to be good. I'm all like, I like it whenever, anyone who's in the competition, who's watching, all of you, whenever you post something where I can click a button that takes me there, you're going to get more votes. Because if I got to go like find something to do something, if I can like, ooh, click the link, push the button, I just voted. But where's my link? There's no link. I can't find it. I didn't vote.
Normally, I'm not going to lie too. It's funny that you say it like that too. Because normally it's when Charlie puts a little thing up, like, if it comes across my feed or if he puts something in our chat and like the link is there, those are the days I normally do it because it's just like, okay, I'm not like, it's not drastically me trying to search for the darn thing and all that stuff. See, Charlie's showing some love for the competition there. Charlie's showing the love.
Oh yeah, I've been seeing everybody's videos. There's a lot of group love going on right now. That's one of the things. There's not a lot of animosity with it. I mean, like I see a lot of them, in each other's reels and stuff, doing cross promotions, for votes and stuff. So it's all like, it's all friendly competition.
And then I guess that's the one way I need to look at it. And it also gives people their spotlight. It puts them out there. People get to know them more. It just, I will say this openly. If anyone ever thinks of putting me in that shit show, I will wholeheartedly, hands down, deny any part of it. I will not do it. But I do gotta support my bro. I do gotta support Charlie. So anyway, that's enough of that 15 minutes of lame crap. So tell us, actually, here, let me run another channel sponsor here quick, and then we'll dive into some other stuff.
Right back after these words.
Yes.
Head on over to Triforce Morphs if you're looking for that missing piece in your ball python breeding project. While you're there, add a little bit of laser citron to the mix, folks. John and Christine can also hook you up with the crested gecko, so don't forget that. Turn up the heat with Triforce Morphs. If you want to use the best reptile record-keeping and tracking software on the market today, scan the QR code or click our partnership link in the description down below for a free 30-day trial of Husbandry Pro. I promise you will not regret it.
And everybody also, if you guys have any questions for Zach regarding Husbandry Pro or whatever, feel free to drop them in the chat there, and we will address them and go over them while at some point, just I'll star them if we don't get to them right away, and I will make sure that they get answered. All right. Carter says Charlie's at 34%. Damn, Charlie. Killing it, bro. Must have been because I think I voted today. That's probably what did it. I probably voted today, and that's
no. It's because he uses the kids. It's the children. I was talking to Josh and Alicia about it. They're all like, they were like, "Oh, he says he gets the kids at the school to vote," and I was like, "Wait, he works at a school or something? I don't know. It's something. He does something like that." And I was like, "Oh, you're hosed." They've all got phones. I was all like, you get the kids on your side, and they're just like, "I got you."
Well, he probably has his daughter telling her friends to do this. I never thought of that. Charlie, all your vote's a sham. It's all children.
I got in like the super sexy contest like last year for Chris before he got hurt and stuff. He was doing like the top sexy men of the industry. And man, I won too. I was in the top 7. I was going to get to be on the show and everything, but then he got hurt and he had to go to the hospital and we ended up doing the show. And plus, like, nobody really wanted to see him. It wasn't like when he did like the hot chicks episode, like everybody was voting and shit. But I lucked out. Like I worked at a mental health clinic and it's just full of doctors, nurses and stuff. And like, they all loved me because I brought donuts and stuff. And so I had a QR, I printed up a QR code that had that linked to the thing. And so they just had to click, scan it. And so every day when they were coming into the lunchroom to put all their lunches away, they would all just sit there and scan for me every single day, like 30 to 70 employees, depending on the day of the week. And I was like,
bribing people with donuts. What the hell? Let's see. Charlie says most of the kids her age aren't voting that much. Their phones can't get to Chris's website. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Carter says Zach is very patient and helpful with HP. Great guy. Also, folks, don't forget too. I have tutorial videos on the channel. There is a playlist strictly just Husbandry Pro tutorials, getting stuff started, setting things up. The last one I did was going over the new label designer, so there's that video out there. There's a lot of stuff to get you going with it.
We've got the how-tos. You did a bunch of them. There's a couple other ones. If you look in the how-to section, there's the podcast for the Let's Talk, and a lot of those were instructionals that did more like deep dives into segments of the system. We're starting to add a few shorts that one of our friends here is done for us that people have been adding. We're going to start adding some little short instructionals. Irresistible has done a couple.
Yeah, I know Nikki and Kurt were doing something, or at least one of them was doing
trying to get like the YouTube Shorts thing going with more of them, like those seem to do better. People are like, oh, I want to see how to, and they just want to see like the 15 to 45 seconds of exactly how to with no explanation really. And I'm all like, so we're going to try to give them some of that.
See, what my plan here is, if I can, folks, I really do want to get to it. It just seems like I'm beginning stages of layoff, and with Christmas coming, like I'm just like trying to get too much done at one time. But I do want to do like a weekly Husbandry Pro live where just going over whatever people that are in the chat want to go over or need help with or setting things up, like just help them answer those questions, go through it, walk them through that stuff. And if nobody shows up, well, then I guess I need to either pick a different time or stick with doing the videos how I've been doing them.
Yeah, doing the podcast thing, it was rough. We ended up pulling the plug on it because it was a lot of managing with working on getting people to do it. And it's like the how-tos, people didn't want to watch too long. And then it's more like you're chatting and conversating. It's all like, then it's like you're doing a guest thing. And it was just like, it was rough. It was rough to fill like, a whole segment on like one parts of the system and stuff. And there wasn't really enough engagement with questions and stuff regularly to fill, really any more than like 5 to 10 minutes of fluff, mixed in with the show and stuff. And so like it was making, they were kind of brutal sometimes, not gonna lie, it was kind of rough.
I enjoyed it, but like you said, there were moments of it where it was a little rough to get through. And like some of the stuff that I really wanted, that I really could have ran off with, other people were freaking doing already. So I didn't even get the really cool topics.
Oh, I know. It's like nobody could really do it like all the time and be like every week because nobody has the time commitment for it.
Yep.
But then when you split it up, it's all like, it's like, oh man, I wanted to talk about labels. And it's like, well, he did labels. And it's like, I don't even know how to use that system. Like, you want me to talk about the rack view? Like, we have a rack view? I turned that off 3 years ago.
Best part was when you said about doing the rack view thing, you're like, dude, I really need you to do this because nobody else does it but you. It's just like, shit. Guess I'm stuck in doing the damn rack view.
And what's crazy is like the whole reason I don't use the rack view, we fixed all of that. Like I made them fix it. I threw a wall-eyed fit about it back in the beginning before I even worked for the company. And I'm like, this, it needs to do this. It needs to do this. Y'all got to add this. Well, they added it all. But while I was waiting for them to add it all, I got frustrated. I quit using it and started finding another way to utilize the system. I never went back to it. And now, like, you can do all the cool stuff. Like, you can drag them around. Like,
Yep.
That was my thing is I couldn't drag anything around. You had to, like, unassign, go in, reassign, and it was a pain.
Oh, dude.
Now,
All right.
you can just drag them all around whenever you move them and stuff, and it's super sweet.
I do. All right. While we're actually, now that you brought that up with the reassigning thing, there is, maybe it's a bug, maybe no one's ever thought of it, or maybe I'm just that damn dumb. Okay. But when you go to assign an animal to a slot on the rack, okay, the whole rack, when you pull it up to assign it to whatever tub number you want it at, is completely freaking empty. Like nothing's colored. So I always had to sit here and count on the freaking rack where this animal's at, and then count on the thing. Like we need to have the slots that are filled in already colored or something on that. If you get what I'm saying.
Mm-mm.
No? All right.
All I
We're,
have to go off of is a sample demo account. Yeah, show me. Because like
all
what
right.
I have, I've got a sample demo account where like there's animals in there and they are different colors. Like they're grayed out if there's no animal, and they're pink, or I think on my demo account it's pink or blue. The blue ones are boys and the pink ones are girls, I think.
All right, let's do this. So, all right, we're going to go to now. This one's already got its location figured out, but I'll go here. Hold on here. Now, why isn't it pulling up the? Why isn't it pulling? All right, let's try this once. Now, what the?
I don't even know what you're doing, dude.
Dude, all right.
This
Well,
doesn't even ask you. Where'd this come from? What witchery is this?
what witchery? Well, no. I went to an animal.
Is this the edit animal screen?
Yeah, this is the edit animal thing. But apparently, you guys fixed what my fucking issue was already. What the world? All right, well,
and a lot of that.
Maybe I was glitching out because it's showing up how I want it to show up now. So I don't.
What do you do from this screen? Like I always in Rack View, I go to Rack View where all the racks are at. I never go into the edit animal screen.
Well, see, this is like set them up. This is when like you can go and you can assign an animal to its location in the rack.
Oh, so like when you're setting the animal up, you're setting a new animal up, you can assign it right then instead of then having to go to Rack View. Oh, that's a nice little ad that we did. Yeah.
But see, now here's the thing though, because I'm so confused now because maybe it's when you turn a clutch into an animal, maybe that's when I'm noticing it. I'm going to have to pay attention next time I have eggs hatch.
Yeah, I know that feature's been there for a while. I remember seeing that box, but that's something that was added to the system before I tested everything.
Okay.
Like I originally, as business development manager, I don't actually test any of that stuff. It's all, talking to people, talking to them about signing up, talking to them about using the system, why they should. Integrations like talking to Charlie about, plugging into Husbandry Pro. Cold Blooded Cafe, we're working on an integration with them after the new year, stuff like that. And it's not necessarily on the development side. My role has evolved throughout the year, and I do a lot more of that stuff now. And I do actually almost anything new we roll out at this point in time, I do personally test it before it comes out. So there's a lot of stuff like that was added in the system, in the first 3 to 4 years before I came on to the company, that I'm all like, if I didn't use it, I'm like, I don't use Rack View, so like I've never had to assign an animal there. So I'm like, it's one of those things I look past and I'm like, use blinders.
See, all right. Nathan's got my back on this one. All right, so it's not the way I was going about doing it because that way is the way it's been. But it's when you're converting eggs to animals is what it is. It shows the whole rack completely blank then, and then you've got to figure out where in the hell the open slots are actually in that rack.
So when you're converting to animals and it brings up that screen where you can set up each one of them in the drop downs, there's one of those screens where it's supposed to pull up the rack for you. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, how can I
to convert to do it?
I don't have any clutches to convert. No, I was wondering what happens if I make a fake clutch.
You can go back and delete it.
Well, here, we'll just do this.
We'll find a problem.
Here, we'll do this.
And then this will be live. You can record it whenever you find it. And then when you open the ticket, you'll be like, hey, here's a video of the problem. They'll fix it.
Really?
Yeah, sometimes, like, if you're not getting good success with our IT guys, a lot of times, like, a little video link helps tremendously. Like, no, look, here's the problem. And they're like, oh, now I know what you're talking about. And then they can get it fixed.
Here, we're going to
we've got our ticket rate down to 24 hours or less since I took over that part. And we've done pretty good about closing them out. But the ones that we have problems getting closed out are usually like, I have a problem here and this doesn't work and it's crap. And it's like, that's great. We can't get anything off of what you just told us.
All right. I got this now. Okay. All right. So, all right. We're going to go here. I made up my fake clutch. We're going to convert to animals. And when you go to select location, we'll just say we're going to add it to the 130 here. See, now it's there. Dude,
That's how good we are. We fix stuff that fast.
I'm telling you, like, I swear it didn't show up like this. Or Nathan, am I thinking when you click on a spot? All right, here, let's do this. All right, we'll go. Dude, now I'm all mixed up as to what the hell I'm bitching about.
If you find the problem, screenshot.
Okay,
it.
all right, right there. Okay, so see, all right, so I selected spot 5 for that last one. So now I'll select 6, save it. We'll go down to here. See, that's what I'm talking about. Those spots I selected aren't showing up as being used now yet.
Oh, because it's not
technically,
because it's not actually assigning them. Nothing that you're doing on that screen actually happens in the system until you hit enter and we put all the animals in there. So, like, I see where the problem comes in. You can put in a ticket on it, and he'll look at it. That might be something fixable.
Okay, but that's good. Like that's yeah.
It's pulling from the database of what's been in there, but nothing in the information. That's all. It's the staging screen that's getting ready to send data to the database. And so, like, that might be as simple as updating it to where as soon as you click on that field, it automatically sends that data back and forth. So put in a ticket. I think we can fix that.
Nathan,
I will have my lead developer look at it personally.
Nathan, it is a problem. Damn it, it is a problem because it baffles me that I can't remember how the hell I screwed it up.
Yeah, we're still doing, if anything's broken on Husbandry Pro, we're still fixing it. There's not much coming out, new stuff right now. Like we rolled out the market, we rolled out the shed testing. The big thing we are rolling out changes and updates to the shed testing to make it more complete, like the credits, the pick 3, adding the ability to put in the coupon code so you can do it. So if you're a Husbandry Pro user, we want to make it easy. We don't want you to, have to go around. If you want to order it through and be able to push the results, you should be able to just order them through and push the results and not have to like, oh, well, but I got a coupon, so I got to order over here and stuff. It's like, just use it in our system. It's the same thing.
Yeah. Charlie, this year, if you're marking animals sold, you need to mark them sold and archived, and that will remove them from your racks automatically. You've got to have the sold and archived selected for that.
There are some settings in general settings, I believe there are, that changes what sold and on hold mean to you and the system. Because some people sold is out of the system. Some people sold is still in the system. I know it has to do with what did I click on? Hold on.
I know, like if I'm waiting on deposits, or if I have a deposit, I'm waiting for them to pay them off. They're on hold. Once they're fully paid off, then I mark them sold. Once they're out of here and in the new owner's hands, I then mark them sold and archived. So then that way it totally takes them out of the rack.
Yeah, and archive takes them off of your count, if you're coming up against your count and stuff. I've been commercial forever, so I don't have to archive anything, which is nice. So, and that's one of the things is like for me, sold is gone. It's on hold. If it's here, I don't care if it's paid for, whatever. I've got notifications. If it's on a payment plan, I've got notifications set to remind me whenever their payments are due. If I'm doing multiple payments, I set up a follow-up notifications every time that they make a payment, and I keep up with it through that. And then once it's sold, it's gone. So like in general settings, I've got my settings set up to where like once I mark it sold, it comes off my feeding list. It goes off of everything. But like the default, I believe everything it stays in your system until you move inactive, delete, or archive.
And see, I'm a stickler for not changing a whole bunch of shit if I don't have to. So I think, and that system actually is the way it's been off the start. That it's just kind of been how I liked it. In all honesty, let me run another.
I remember that was like one of the first things me and Rob like serious debates me and Robert ever got into was what sold meant. And who decided what sold meant to someone. And so like our saving grace was a toggle switch that like, okay, if sold to you means gone, you can toggle this switch. If sold to you means paid for, it's like that by default.
Charlie, this is what I have to fix. He's feeding the feeding reminders too. But you don't want them archived. Well, if they're sold, Charlie, and they're not there, why don't you want them archived?
Well, and unless you have a commercial account, they're counting against the total number of animals you're allowed to have unless you have them marked archive. So it's like it's important to archive them once they're gone, or you'll get to a point of where it won't let you set up new clutches or put in new animals.
Yeah. Yeah, what's the reason for not wanting to archive them, Charlie?
He probably doesn't want to archive them because once you archive them, you can't edit them anymore. You can't make any changes to the animal.
But if they're not, if they're sold and they're not there, you don't need to change them anyway.
It happens. It happens. You know, like, oh man, I freaking had a breeder male. Like, he never threw anything that looked like yellow belly to me. I had him for 3 years. I sold him to you. He made a white snake with somebody. Had him tested. Oh, he's got yellow belly. Well, that changes him. So I need to go back and change him in my system because that changes, you know, possible pairings for every single animal I've produced out of him, you know, and all those records feed into other records. So it happens.
I see, Charlie, depending what, yeah, I mean, because I think the level I'm at, you're allowed up to like 500 animals or something like that, I think.
Yeah, see, I'm the same way. Sold to me, sold is gone. It's not sold till it's out the door.
Yeah, I
feel you.
Charlie, maybe we'll get on a call or on a thing here at some point, or hop on for this week, and we'll walk through it a little bit here or something. Zach, let me run another sponsor ad here, and actually the last two, and then excuse me, and then we'll talk about I want to talk about Husbandry Pro Next. See what you'll allow us to know about HP Next anyway.
We'll see.
Here we go, folks.
Stop wasting time trying to prove out animals or taking chances on possible heads or genes you don't know that are there. Head on over to Charlie at Gray Rider Reptiles and ShedTesting.com for all of your shed testing needs. He's fast, accurate, and adding new tests on a regular basis. So head on over to ShedTesting.com and check him out. Make sure to use the code CARPET15 for 15% off of your shed test order. Use nothing but the best at ShedTesting.com. Are you ready to take it to the next level? Then check out DTMG Pythons. Danny is best known for his awesome clown ball python projects. This year's focus is Confusion, Hurricane, and Disco Inferno clowns. He also specializes in high-end crested gecko morphs such as Exantic, Lily White, and Exantic Lily Whites, along with the Deadpool line of gargoyle geckos. Check out his morph market and Instagram, DTMG Pythons. Just buy it.
All right, I was going up through the questions here, the chat here, and Sean asked, anyone having trouble with drag and drop in browse racks when adding to a single column rack? I haven't had any issues with my dragging and dropping and stuff with anything. The only time I've had an issue is my fat fingers swipe it on my phone, and then I end up grabbing an animal by accident and placing it in a completely different bin or something.
Oh, I can't even.
That's happened.
I've got that locked. Like I can't move anything on mobile without going in the settings and unlocking it first. Because I kept messing my system up all the time. I'd mess it up in my pocket because I'd have it pulled up all the time at the expos and stuff, and I would just be like on Husbandry Pro talking to a customer, and what happens? Huh? What's for? Oh yeah. Phone in the pocket. Next thing I know, I've done rearranged my whole freaking animal list.
Oh, jeez, dude, that's bad. Oh, it's on the desktop, not phone. Interesting. No, I haven't had any issues. I mean, I move stuff normally after a show. Once I go through and mark everything that's sold, and that's gone. Archive everything. That's when I kind of go through a rack rearranging. If one rack, like if I sold multiple animals out of that one rack, I'm big OCD about kind of keeping things consolidated and organized. So I like the last time I did it, Sean, I didn't have any problems. So that's interesting.
Oh, I've probably looked over here like 50 times because, you know, quietly in the background, the team that makes this company run, we're putting all of my animals away. My daughter and my lovely daughter and wife put all the animals away. And I just keep like, I can see the baby rack over here, and there's just tubs stuck out everywhere that don't have snakes in there. And it is driving me nuts. But as soon as I'm off this podcast, the second I'm off, I will be up out of this chair, pulling every one of those empty tubs and reconsolidating those.
Dude, that I like. And here's my thing: like when I go through and do that stuff, I keep clutches, you know, per rows, and then if there's only a couple animals and one clutch left, I have those animals, an empty tub, and then I'll start a whole nother clutch after that empty tub. Like, yeah, I've got my own little method to my madness. But Sean's saying it only happens on single column racks when you're dragging them in.
Screen record, create the issue, and record it. And if you can do it, you can create the problem and show us what it is. We can fix it. Because a lot of times, it's like you try to explain that in writing, and it's like, A, us trying to understand what you're talking about, and then B, we go in and we're like, looks good. So, like, if you can do a video and show the problem, it's much easier. And it's like, oh, okay, they're doing it in this view from this way. That's when the issue is. And a lot of times we find out, you know, it's like they might be in a completely different section of the system doing it. You know, like I was expecting you to go over to menu, rack view, and you're all like in the edit animal. And I'm like, what's this guy doing?
What kind of witchcraft is this idiot pulling on me?
Because there's so many different features of Husbandry Pro that you can access from so many different things.
There is, yeah.
Us too. What comes next? How do we make that better? Husbandry Pro Next is what comes next to make that better. You know, it's where we take all these little doodads and bells that we've added here and there, and we put them all central and make it easy to find and easier to use. And we combine ideas in original fashions that integrate things to where we're removing entire pages and sections of the system that we've had before. And to have to do it with Husbandry Pro, it would take so many thousands of hours of coding to redo some of this stuff. It's easier at this point to redo it fresh. And PHP's old. That's what everybody uses. All your websites, all these old websites and stuff that we're using, they're slow. It's outdated. It's stuff that's been around for, you know, it's like 20, 25 years now. You know, I mean, do you use your phone from 20, 25 years ago? No, that thing's a freaking paperweight. It's antiquated.
Hey, all right. You take that back, sir. I found my original iPhone not that long ago. That sucker still works. Gave it to Hagen, too.
20 years old, is it? How long ago was the iPhone? How old am I? Let me show my age here. How long has the iPhone been around?
I think we're on the iPhone 16 something, but isn't it doubled that, though? Because 1 year you get, I don't know.
Nothing. You get like one a year, right?
Yeah, but then there for a while you were getting like one version of it. Then the next year it was like the upgraded version. You get like the Pro or whatever the hell the upgraded size was.
Well,
now you get everything in one shot.
The website, like this StreamYard we're streaming on, this is all through PHP. All this stuff is older than that phone. And people are still using this stuff. It's antiquated. And so, you know, that's why I like more, you know, Meta, you know, Facebook and Instagram, all that stuff's moved away from PHP and like into whole new platforms that are all more like AI friendly and stuff for the future, because that's how stuff's going. And so that's why we're just like, oh, we can redo this whole platform and do all this new stuff in fractions of the time it used to take us to build the other stuff. It is taking us a little bit of a challenge to find ways to make it intuitive to add these things. And that's one of the things that slowed us down a little bit on Next, is that, you know, the system has the capabilities, but we've had to do training because it's brand new technology. And the techs for that are extremely expensive to buy them, you know, or to hire them straight out of college who are trained to use Meta software. And so what we end up doing is training our techs up on how to use it, which is thankfully not a task that's too hard to do, but there's a training issue. And then it's like, okay, where can we add this in? How do we integrate this to where, like, how can we get this list of 23 options down to 12? Okay, now we're at 12. How can we really get it down to like 6? Can we get it down to 4? Yeah. And we start getting nitty gritty, you know. I mean, like, there was one brainstorming session we were going through doing stuff where we eliminated like 5 whole subsection categories over there. Like, oh, we can actually do this and that and this. Oh, and this over here, all in this one screen. Oh yeah, we just consolidated all that. Now we just got to figure out where to stick that. So it's been fun.
See, I think that's a big thing though too, is to consolidate some of what is already here. Because I think that's the one thing that does overwhelm people the most, and that's why I'm excited about Next is the original Husbandry Pro. There was a lot going on there. I think that's kind of what scared people. Why is that? There's so many different options, buttons, and ways to do shit that it kind of spooked them.
Yeah, man. And I get it a lot. And as we added stuff for people, it made it, you know, have more options and better for people who could figure out how to use them. Yep. And so it's an awesome system. If you can use it, you can figure it out. You know, I mean, some of it's easier to figure out than other parts of it. Some of it you just like, one of the things I tell people about it now, it's like, go play with it, look through every option and, you know, take some free time, take 30 minutes here, take 30 minutes there. You might make it through, you know, half your utilities and be like, oh man, I found all kinds of stuff crazy stuff to play with. And you'll come back and look through it later and be like, oh, I completely missed this. What's this animal transfer thing? Oh, I can transfer these animals. Oh yeah. And I can transfer them to people who don't even have the system. What?
Yeah, which that's another, like I always do for that. That is the one thing I am terrible with. I always forget that I can do that. Because I always think in my head, I can only transfer the animals to the people that actually have Husbandry Pro. I always forget that I can transfer it to people that don't have it. Like that's something I need to personally just keep in the back of my head and remember.
So I'm bad about that too. I do pretty good with it whenever I run the sales through Husbandry Pro, like my cash sales and stuff. I'm pretty horrible about it. But if they want to pay through card, I'll actually pull up my store on Husbandry Pro and I'll be like, oh, do the buy now thing and here, do it here. You can pay on that, or I'll send them the link and freaking out do the buy now thing. I'm like, oh yeah, what's your phone number? Here, I just texted you a link to my store. Click buy now on there, and I'll have them do it, so I don't have to ring up the Square and everything. And the Square is what's already hooked up to my store, so they'll go through there, do the buy now. It pushes all the records through Husbandry Pro for me, so now I've got their records without having to do any inputting on my side, and that's nice. That'll copy over and. I believe now it populates into the seller information because there is a section where it's like sold to. If they do there, it should be now, and it should now go through there and be populating in there. So,
dude, I didn't even think of that, of running it through Husbandry Pro, because they can, if they scan the QR code on the label at the show, if the animal's already for sale, buy now. Buy now, so they can access the buy. I'm going to have to see if I can't start pushing that one. That part
look in partner. Look in your partner package data on your partner tab, and there is a new little printout, like a little postcard size printout you can print off that says like scan the QR. You know, tells people to scan the QR codes on your tables and stuff.
I did see that. Yeah, you guys put that out after I made up my own little doodad thing, and
that's what I did. So I made him do that. I saw yours, and I was like, "Oh, we do need something like that." I was like, "Let me get one of the guys." He was sitting there, man. He was farting around. I could tell I was like, "Man, he can do this real quick." I was like, "Whip me up a graphic like that." And then I printed them off, took them to the show, and somebody was nice enough to point out to me that like I had to have him change it, and put a QR code on the picture that goes to Husbandry Pro instead of anywhere else.
Well, I know the thing that made me kind of come up with I needed a sign was the last Repticon I was at. I kept telling everybody, you know, scan the QR code if you have any questions. Just scan the QR code; it'll tell you everything about that animal you're looking at. And John from Triforce came over. He goes, "If I hear you say that one more freaking time," I just got to laugh. I was like, You know what? I guess I have been saying that like an awful lot today. It's like maybe I need a sign. But you know what? Even with the sign, people don't read it.
Like I tell them, if you're reading the sign, I explain the sign to them because they'll be like, I can't tell you how many people. It's a sign that has a picture of a phone for people who haven't seen this. It's a sign, and it's got
I can pull it up,
like showing on the thing, and like people will look at it and they're like, I think I'm supposed to scan this, and they'll pull out their phone and scan the sign, and I'm like, it's telling
right
you to
there.
scan the QR codes around on the table. Yeah, so that's the sign. Countless people pull out their phone and try to scan that. And that's how we discovered that that was a scannable QR code originally, and it did not go to Husbandry Pro. It does now, though.
That's funny.
Literally it was just a generated AI, like freaking QR code for an image. And like no one thought, like I approved the image. I looked at it. I'm like, yeah, it looks nice. Never even thought about scanning because it's all kind of blurry, like kind of cartoony looking. It wasn't supposed to be a real QR code. It's just supposed to encourage you to scan other QR codes. And
see, here we can one up that now though. What that code needs to do is be specific per partner. So that way when they scan it, it then takes the people to the partner store.
That would be nice. That would be nice.
Zach, you're saying I can see you're thinking, you son of a bitch.
That would be like, something like we could maybe, do for a store feature or something, like a little link on your store where you can print a tabletop that's but we never thought about it because it's like, why would you link someone to your store when all your animals are right there? They can scan the QR code that's on any one of the animals already to get there. So
true. This is true.
I've got a QR code. I've got there is, where do you get it at? I think it's in Commerce because I know I've got one on my banner that I take to the expos, and you can scan my QR code on my banner. And it's got this, not this logo, but it's got our little Husbandry Pro head in the middle of the QR code. And you scan it and it takes you to my Husbandry Pro store.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, yeah, that's different than what mine, because mine, I don't think my banner, I think it just takes you to Husbandry Pro to set up an account, I think. Anyway, neither here nor there. Mission Morphs, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Bone Daddy wanted to say hi to you as well. Thanks for tuning in.
What's up, John? I'm assuming.
So now let's get back to Next here. Or is there going to be finally just one label designer instead of the 50 million label designers? Or
one label designer to rule them all.
That's exactly what I was going. So is it going to be the latest one that has been put out though?
Yes, it'll be very, very similar to the new one. It's a little bit different because we have to redo it for Next, obviously. I believe it actually is a little bit more feature rich, but definitely it's a very similar feel to it. You can do all the same stuff to it. It's in the new style, except now the one label maker, like if you do cage cards, if you do freaking tub labels, if you do anything, it'll all go to the one engine. And that's one of the things that we've gotten right now is a lot of that stuff is overlaid, like little pop-up engines and stuff in Husbandry Pro Next. So like if you're in the animal and you go to print label, it's like, boop, it pops up the print label module. You print your thing. Everything's still open in the background. You can minimize this screen. It's still here. You can close it out when you're done. You're still on the same screen you were on. So there's no need to even redirect you back and forth. You never went anywhere. And
that'll be nice.
That's what's awesome about how the Next system works is the way it stores all those little modules and pops them up on top of each other and stuff instead of PHP directing you to other pages and stuff all the time. And it's going to make stuff a lot better. So like no matter where you're at, what you're doing, whatever you're trying to print, whenever you try to print something, it's going to pull up that prints engine where you can make the labels.
Okay. That'll be nice.
Except for like, where you're trying to like print PDFs and stuff, it won't pull up that label maker engine, but yeah, no matter what you're doing. We did change it for some new users, so they don't probably see what you see. And I will tell you, A lot of people forget about this feature. Go into settings, go into menu settings, and turn off the stuff that you don't use and you don't look at, and it will make your system look much cleaner and nicer.
You can even turn off genetics that you don't want to be seeing. Like for me, if you like biggest thing, if you do Exantics, like this was like, because I forget what, I think it was one of the lives that we all did together, is like the partner lives, and Robert and Billy, like everybody was there, and Billy was saying, but busting on the 210 hypo or whatever the hell it was. He said on how it was bullshit because it was always first, and he had to scroll down to find the hypo that regular hypo. And Robert's just like, just click it off. He goes, what? He goes, just click it off. You can turn it off so you don't see it.
Yeah, and he was throwing the fit about 210 typo. Like, that's one of my babies right there. Like, that was my brainchild. I'm like, we got to find some way to turn this off. I was like, I swear, I freaking like. At that point in time, this was like a couple years ago. At that point in time, I probably had 40% hypos in my collection. And I was like, if I have to scroll past 210, who made this genetic? Where did this come from? Why did Morph Market have to add it to their stuff for us to add it to ours? You're like, damn you. Like, I freaking shot Darian a message one day about that. I'm all like, hey. And he said, what? And I said, fuck 210 hypo. And he just said, LOL. I don't know if he knows what I'm talking about or not, but.
But no, like that was like once after that live, I went through, like, I got rid of all the VPI, the MJ, anything that wasn't TSK, I got rid of as far as options, because I don't need it, because I don't work it. So that's another nice option, is the fact that you can turn off all of those free, any genetics you want to turn off and not have to deal with them to have pop up.
Citrus Pastel, that's one I turned off, that because it always, I type in pastel, and for some reason Citrus Pastel pops up because it starts with a C instead of a P. Yep. And it's like, I'm not even, if you have something and it says Citrus Pastel on it, don't even send me a picture of it. I'm not gonna buy it. I'm not doing it. Just because it's called Citrus Pastel. If I do put it in my system, I'm gonna call it a pastel. I'll put it in the descriptor. Citrus Pastel.
This will boil you even more, Zach. Here, Mission says that the first 4 snakes came from 210, but they think they're out now. So now they've left an imprint on the hobby, and they're not even around, possibly.
They're like, we're gonna fuck with everyone. We're gonna name this 210 hypo, so it pops up first in every search. They will always know our name.
Yep, we will leave our mark. But like that's a nice little aspect. Now, if I remember correctly, because I'm thinking back to when we did that one live all together, and Robert was giving us some teases and stuff of different things. Have like some of the animal menus changed and gotten cleaner looking and stuff? That
okay. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons it's been a little slower than what we thought, is because, like, it's like building a whole new Husbandry Pro all over again. Robert spent a couple years building the first Husbandry Pro. When we're fast tracking the crap out of it, and it's faster to do things in Husbandry Pro Next. But when Robert built the first Husbandry Pro that took him a couple years to build, it didn't have everything Husbandry Pro has now. And we're trying to cram that all into this new system, on top of train new employees to code this system. On top of, we ended up going through some employment changes with some of our developers leaving to go do other opportunities and stuff. And, just upgrading people to work with the new systems better, with a better background to pick up that stuff. Plus, we had a new guy who came on board to do just our websites and stuff. So we're going to, work on ramping up on the website stuff that we've been doing for, like, my website that we're almost finished with soon, and Billy's and his, and then we're doing the Harbins and a few others. So there's been a lot of staffing and training and stuff going on. And anyone knows, man, if you've had to hire and train up people and you do like multiple people in like a 2-3 month window, it's definitely pumps brakes on things. There's growing pains, but it's been full steam. We've really been moving good here lately, and getting good traction on everything. Everything's really starting to come together with doing these systems, because the big thing on Husbandry Pro Next system is we don't have to redo everything for every single page. like we did for Husbandry Pro and PHP. For Husbandry Pro Next, we build this system once and it's built, and now we can just tap into it wherever we want to tap into it from other stuff. And that's the most laymanest of terms. There's somebody in the chat right now who programs who's all like this stuff. but that's like the lamest. The story of it is basically we're having to build all of Husbandry Pro all over from scratch. Plus, you'll go through and you start working it and stuff, and it's like, oh, well, this doesn't make sense actually. It's like, because we got this over here, and we're going to bring this in later. How are we going to make that happen? Because you got to get you have to get the core pages down first, and that's been like where we've put a lot of focus on. That way, whenever we roll it out, it'll be hopefully the full free tier plus the first paid level. And so basically all the basic husbandry stuff and everything will be out there. All of your base system will be out. And then the stuff that we add on top of it for like your higher till levels will all be modules that are like pop-up overlays and one or two little business options that pop up to the menus to where, if you have everything, you're the highest user, there might be like 4 to 6 options over here on the side instead of 22.
I was going to say, consolidating it, and with what you're saying, I mean, it sounds like it's going to be a lot more just consolidated, easier to navigate through, which I think that was probably the biggest gripe that I've always heard people say. There's too many options. I don't know what I'm doing. It's like, let me help you. I'll show you what you need to be able to do. Now, what are some of the features that you're most excited about with Net?
Oh, come on. You already know what I'm going to say. I love my carpet pythons like you love your carpet pythons. And I love my lineage. I love my lines. I love my tracking, genetics. I come from a dog breeder, family where we kept up with all that stuff. And so like, it was, I was flabbergasted when I got into reptiles with like the complete and utter lack of record keeping and like ball pythons and stuff like that. I'm like, are you serious? Where's my pedigree? Like, I want to see like 6, 8 generations back, and you don't even want to tell me what the pairing was on the parents for this one baby that I'm looking. I'm not buying the baby if you can't tell me what the mom and dad are and show me pictures. And then they're all like, you don't need to look at pictures. It's different in reptiles. I'm like, hey, man, I don't need to look at pictures. What if mom's ugly? But like the lineage thing, the lineage tree. Getting a nice, robust pedigree feel, like, if anyone who's done dogs or equestrian horses and stuff, you're used to a very similar kind of pedigree feel that just doesn't exist in reptiles. Nick Mutton has got a system that a lot of the carpet python people have adopted to and stuff. That's like a weird compressed view, but it's hard to program that into a system the way he does his. And he does it because of PowerPoint and his limitations and the way he does it. I talked to Nick a little bit about it, in trying to get, input on how to do ours better. And what we're thinking we're going to go with is something more like the pedigree for like a dog, build out lineage, plus sign. You hit a plus sign, you can add mom or dad, mom and dad. Once you add one, you can plus out and add out the other ones.
There's what he's talking about, folks. This is Nick Mutton's pedigree type of deal, lineage tree. This is just going over for my gelatin, but that's exactly how his are done up.
And so that's what we want it to do. If you have a picture of the mom and dad, you should see a picture. You go to that baby and you go to the lineage, and you should see the picture you have of that baby, the picture of the mom, and the picture of the dad if they're available. If they're not available, you should see at least the details of what they are, whatever they had in the system available, the descriptor or the genetics, date of birth, whatever information they have put in the system for them. And then if those are your first pairings, that's as far as it goes. But for those of you buying people, like really nice green trees, really stuff, and you have that information from Nick, or you've got your own documents and stuff, like, oh, I know it, I can build it out. You'll be able to just click a plus sign next to that dad, add in the parents of that, upload them. Hit a plus sign, add in the parents of that, upload them. And you'll be able to, add in a picture, do a quick descriptor if you would like, break out the actual genetics, kind of like our system now where you can do a descriptor. Yeah. And I see that's what
So I just pulled that up right now so people can see what the actual lineage tree looks like currently.
Yeah, see, it's big, it's bulky. Like, we want all that. I want all that information you see right there, like the animal ID, animal name. I want all of that in like one little small area right there next to the picture, and then the female's picture right there next to it, and then the ability to click on that picture and see a bigger image of that picture. We're looking at the ability to add multiple pictures there. The problem is when you start adding multiple pictures in any sections and stuff, that ups database fees and stuff. And it's like when you're building out a lineage, most systems it's expected you just get one picture representing, the lineage there. But we know a picture won't be required. But you get something where you got eight generations. You'll be able to just plus out your eights and put your genetics in there and build it out. And so now you can do that. And then I'll take my picture I got from Nick and throw that in there in a historical data little picture. They're going to add a little separate section there for a historical image to where you can have a picture of somebody else's lineage. So you can attach that to your lineage, but not have it be in your lineage. So it'll be a special little section just for like, if you get some sort of a certificate or something from someone with a breeder, like, oh, hey, here's what I got from them that has to do with the lineage. So you can have that in your lineage if you get your stuff from Nick and you don't want to build all that stuff out, but you want to have that record there in your lineage. And then so that's kind of like what I do here with my multi-generation using the system, it'll build out the tree for you.
Let me pull up the there we go. See, that's kind of what I did here with the thing for the gelatin there is I just added it in as a photo. So when it's there,
and that's what I've got right now on mine too. And just in your separate photo section, but we want to consolidate that into the lineage section where it's, it's more separate. Yeah. You have a separate photo section, which is photos of your animal, and then lineage. Cause it's a photo, it's related to your animal. And then I believe our photo gallery actually has a couple features. So you have like a toggle feature of like, you can see uploaded photos and then like photos of your animal, something like that. I'm not sure they were playing with that module last time I looked at it. That's subject to change. Don't quote me on it. But basically we wanted all your photos in one spot so you could go somewhere that had photos, and it has kind of like when you go to your Facebook photos. When you go to photos, it's got everything, but there's a couple different subcategories, like, oh, I want uploads or tags, there'll be something along those lines. Like these might not be photos of the babies, like, random stuff. Like if you uploaded medical records or something like that, we want that stuff in a separate tab, because you didn't actually upload that photo of the animal to that section.
That makes sense. That way, like if you did like NIDO testing or testing of whatever, you can add it. That makes sense.
What we ran into is, some of our power users who do a lot of documenting and stuff like that and keep like crazy records, especially some people in other countries, like, or people who live in states that have a lot of regulations that keep a lot of records. They keep photos of all this stuff, and it starts in our current system. It just gets all combobulated in the photo section. Once you start getting 20, 30 photos in there, there's no rhyme or reason to it. They're just all in there. And so we put that up, just little minor tweaks that'll make stuff nicer for some users. Some users, might not even notice the difference. But that stuff helps. Trying to put on things.
Is there anything other than the lineage that you're excited for? Or is basically the lineage like the big thing that you're like, hell yes, finally?
Excited to not have to. Well, I can turn them off, but the problem is I can't really turn stuff off. Y'all can turn stuff off. I have the ability to turn stuff off, but as soon as I turn stuff off, somebody's going to send me a message and ask me a question about it. So I've got to turn it back on. And so like my system's just got everything. And, and like, that's what I'm excited about is like, being able to look at less finally, do everything from, like do a lot more from one screen and not having to, go here to do this, jump over here to send my invoices, go into this other screen. And really, you hit the nail on the head. I'm so sick of seeing the freaking sheet label designer and the people still use the thermal because they go there and it's still a feature. They moved it to the top where the new one, so new users see it at the top option now, where like those of us who've been here for a while, it's like our third or fourth option down underneath the other options. Yeah. But still, they'll see label maker, new, Dymo label maker. I've got a Dymo. And they click on it and they use Dymo. And that thing sucks so bad. Like, it's not broken. It works, but it's garbage. You know, and it's not like our system's garbage for it. No, it's a plug-in Dymo label maker system. And like, there's no customization to it. Like, everything comes out in an exact field. You can't edit like pretty much anything about it. All you do is you're just going to get a little default label. And like, I was talking to one of my buddies, and he does a bunch of shows, and I'm like, man, you're like a really like design-oriented guy, and you've got just the most blandest labels I've ever seen. And he's all like, well, man, that's your system. You designed it. He got all offended and stuff. And I was all like, well, no, you designed it. What are you talking about? And he's all like, this is what I'm using. See? And I was like, oh, quit using that. Like, I've rallied to have it turned off, but there are people, you know, like we can see the numbers and stuff, you know, like, I'm big on not looking too much on the numbers and stuff, you know, because I try to stay out of people's business and stuff. But I can see certain levels of usage. And there's a good bit of people who still use the sheet label designer and who still use the Dymo label designer because it's what they had in the beginning. Their stuff's already set up. They just don't want to change. They don't want to use the new system. And that's why we're never turning off old Husbandry Pro. We're never making everyone go over to Husbandry Pro Next. You'll always be able to go back and forth seamlessly. You know, there'll get to be a point of where new stuff, awesome stuff is available on Husbandry Pro Next that won't be on Husbandry Pro because we're not going to add new stuff to Husbandry Pro, but we will fix it if it breaks.
That was going to be my next thing to bring up is, you know, is everyone going to be forced that on this date that we all have to switch over, or is your old system going to be able to keep flowing and the new one will just kind of start up and go?
Yeah, no, like you're going to get like a, not quite sure 100% on the deliverable, but, you know, you're getting something like a pop-up saying, hey, here's the new system. If you'd like to come check it out, you know, and you'll be able to just log in and click a little button to plug your account up to it. And once you go in there and you've plugged it up, now those accounts are linked permanently, basically, you know, the next and the old one. And all of your animals and stuff will automatically be in there. It'll all auto sync as soon as you plug in your account. And if you go into Next and you go tinker around with it, I told them to put a warning for this because people won't know this. Or somebody's going to do this. And they're like, I broke a bunch of stuff because I was playing in the new system and I didn't know it affected the old system. And it's like, yes, if you go into Husbandry Pro Next when it comes out and you start deleting your animals because you're all like, oh, I'm playing in this new system, you're deleting them in the old Husbandry Pro too because they are connected systems.
So don't do that, folks. Do not delete shit.
No, it'll be a fully integrated, fully connected system. You know, once you link them, like I go in here and I add an animal in Husbandry Pro Next and I start using that for my, like, you know, my animal list screen and the bulk of my features, which I immediately will. Whenever I put a new animal in there and like, oh, I need to go update my store. Well, we haven't added the store yet to the new system. So I have to go to the old system to pull up the store. I go into the old system. The animals are already in there. I don't have to go do anything extra like I would do. I already, you know, it's just like I put them in the old system. So it'll be seamless to go back and forth between the two. There'll actually be a little button there where you can go back and forth between the two to do different things like that.
Nice. So it'll kind of be like a toggle switch type of deal. Toggle it on to the new and toggle it on to the old or something.
So you go through, do all your stuff. Like, oh, okay, I need to do this. We're not going to make it hard for you to like, oh, let me close this out. Go over here to Husbandry Pro. Open it up. That's going to be cumbersome. Nobody's going to want to do that. You know, they're like, it's going to be stupid. Everyone's going to want to stick with Husbandry Pro until Next gets everything that Husbandry Pro has. And we want people to be able to come over right away and experience the new stuff.
Nice, dude. I'm super excited for Next. Hopefully, I think I remember you said it on one of the other lives you were on, said something about partners are going to get to play around with it first. So I'm very, very excited to get to play around and nuts around with it a little bit.
Yeah, we were hoping for last quarter, but you know, we ended up changing staff and picking up some new people, ramping up for it and stuff, blah, blah, blah. And basically it's really looking like, you know, it's going to be sometime, hopefully the first quarter. In the first quarter, maybe we'll be able to let you guys come in and start playing with it a little bit and trying to break it.
Well, as you get,
we care more about getting it smooth and right because we got Husbandry Pro. It's here. It's great. It works. If it breaks, we fix it. No problem. And we still rolled out a lot of brand new features for it. All the way up until a couple weeks ago, and we still got a couple things that were left on the plate. So it's not like it's been abandoned or anything. We're still here for you, and we're still fixing everything. But so we can take our time with Next and make sure that we smooth all this out and get it right and tested. And so when it rolls out, there's no like, oh, woulda, shoulda, coulda, because we won't be adding all kinds of other stuff and stuff. We've already done that in this system. We've taken what we've learned. We've looked at the data of what people actually use, what works the best, and it'll be in the new system, and it'll just be awesome from the beginning.
Well, my another question I have for you is, because one of the greatest things with Husbandry Pro right now is that if there's enough user demand for certain things, I'm going to say 9 times out of 10, if there's enough demand for it, it somehow gets implemented and put in there. Will the same thing still be going on with Next, or are we going to kind of this is how it is, and we'll tweak it here and there, but we're going to try to keep it where we're at?
It will be a lot more slowed down and controlled than original Husbandry Pro was, because Husbandry Pro was like wild, wild west for a minute. If you put in a ticket and you asked for it, it got added and stuff, and we added, and there is some things that we have added that there's some things that are out there. They're public. We've checked it till it's blue in the face. I've had people go and look at it to make sure it's there that have never been used.
Oh, wow.
not frequently, not often. I mean, somebody hooted, somebody hollered and acted like they had to have this. We added it, and even they never used it. They quit using the system in the 3 months it took us to roll out the change to add the thing that they wanted, and they never even used it. And so we will always be customer service focused. We will always listen. It's just we did that to get everything in there to see what everybody liked, to see what worked well for everybody. There's some stuff that we're just going to, pull out of there. It's not going in the new system because it doesn't work right. It didn't, it doesn't make sense. Nobody's using it at all. And once we get that stuff in there for Husbandry Pro Next, it'll be the base nuts and bolts are going in first. Then your package levels will come in after that incrementally in steps. And by that, I mean, we're shooting for, hopefully we'll release free tier, first paid tier, all features of it. Then next we'll look to roll out everything you would get with the breeder package, which is to be like your store and stuff. We'll get that stuff. That'll be a big release. And then it'll be what you get with breeder commercial. There's nothing extra for commercial except for some extra perks. But it'll be like in like a 3-step release, 3 to 4-step release, hopefully. And once we get that out, then we'll be in a position of like, oh, okay, here's a major thing we want to add and stuff. There's some, so we're still going to do it. It's just basically we had to kind of pump the brakes on it. And we can't stop anything we're rolling into Husbandry Pro to change stuff to it because it's not out yet to even evaluate what it doesn't have. So all we can do on the new system is go by what we currently have in the system. We do still check whenever we're building something out. We look at our suggestion board. We look at the system data, and we look at the user group. And we search through those with keywords and see, have multiple people complained about something? Like if I can find one person who asked about it, it's not something we're, redeveloping everything over, And so that's why we're encouraging people now, in the new system, it won't be as simple as let me put in a ticket and our developer will have carte blanche to just add whatever anyone asks for. There's an approval process going forward, with the new system. And it'll have to be, pulled through the community. It'll have to be something that we know people are asking for. There's more of a direct necessary need for, and stuff like that. And so, it's not a random request because there's things where there's one item where we spent like, I have to say like $3,000 in development costs over troubleshooting, going back and forth, trying to get it implemented just right and stuff. And it's like 2 people have used it. 2 people have went in there and played around with it. It's like nobody messes with it. And it's like, and some of it, maybe it wasn't implemented properly or whatnot. We don't know. It didn't work. And you go back and look and it's like, oh, we did that because one random person asked for a ticket and we're like, we'll try it. So, you got to rein it in at some point in time. So we're still going to do it, but it'll be what gets traction now. We're going to really start encouraging like the upvoting and stuff on the suggestion board. And that's actually gotten some good stuff. If you'll look at the suggestion board, you'll look and you'll see some stuff with like 8, 9 upvotes. That's going to be the stuff we're looking at. Be like, oh, hey, that's awesome. And don't be surprised. A lot of that stuff you'll see in next because we do look at that.
Okay. See, in all honesty, I'll be completely honest. I've never looked at this at the suggestion board. I've never once done it.
Yeah, I've been trying to do that. I've taken over the ticket system in the last half of the year, and so like I do a lot more of our customer service related tickets and stuff. Since we're not doing the new additions and stuff, now our developers are like, oh, hey, let me kick this over here, and it's like, oh, go here, go to the Facebook user group, or go to the suggestion board. You can make a post in the user group, and if you get lots of interactions and comments and people talking about they agree with you and share a like-minded, that's going to get our attention faster than anything. And the suggestion board, that's something we look at before we go through any like major module stuff. We go look, do a quick skim over. Like, okay, is there anything I see here where like, 5, 8 people, clicked on it and stuff, and there's, comments, sub-comments, like, yes, oh, and oh. It's like, cool. All right, a lot of people feel that way, and it's not just one person thinking that.
Jason's asking a question here, and Jason, maybe I'm just getting slightly confused by it because, but anyway, Jason says, I know Herbstat and Sensor Push weren't on the initial Next release, but any chance we will be able to add one or multiple graphs on the animal or rack view? Now, because like right now, it's depending on what tier you're on, Jason, as what package you have with Husbandry Pro, as far as having the spider web and the sensor push stuff linked in. So
yes, those will end up getting added to the next system. The big thing on those, and those are, because it's at a certain package level, and it's one of those things that Next doesn't change its workings. It's just being able to access it in Next instead of having to go to the old system. So it's low priority to get it moved over. But when we move it over, we'll have to look at what we do and where we add some of those plugins and what kind of graphics we do. Everything we move over will get retooled or reworked in some way, shape, or form. A lot of those pages are being made to look better and stuff, and a little less like an afterthought. So that's quite possible. It's a little distant. Can't tell you for sure.
Like the way I have mine set up now, like I just went back to my dashboard here real quick, and let me share the screen here again real quick. But like right there, I've just got everything set up. I don't need to see a graph. All I need to really see is what those numbers are telling me. That's really all I need to see.
But yeah, it's stuff we can look into, because I want to say like the actual spider web, like it's storing the data and it's there. So it might be as simple as us, just having an option like you had those right there where they're listed. Click on one and then boom, it pops up a screen with the last 12 hours. You could scroll it left to right, some sort of a graph. Like I think that's what he's asking about. That's something that might possibly be doable. And that stuff that, little tweaks like that are things that we're working on doing when we roll this out and we're doing all the stuff. Everything we're doing for Next, we're trying to do it better. So it's not just, oh, you took what we already had and you just moved it over here. It's like, oh, we took it over here and improved it and made it better and nicer and prettier and smarter and easier to use.
I see what he's saying now. Right now, the sensor push is kind of off to the side. It would be nice to add a sensor's data to the individual animal page. Okay. I mean, have to see what they end up doing, man. Have to see how they end up working everything and putting it in there.
Are you like for an enclosure? Maybe is what you're talking about. Like I've got a specific enclosure, and I go to that animal, and I can see what the temperature on that animal is. There, maybe is that maybe. That's
I think that's what he's saying. Being able to go into that see with that actual enclosure and watch what the temps are doing and where spikes and stuff like that are. He says scan the animal code and it shows the temp humidity.
I don't even know what he's talking about.
I think I'm on board with you, Jason. I think I'm on board with you.
Yeah, it's like I feel him. He's talking about a lot of stuff for like individual monitoring of individual animals.
Yeah, that's how I'm taking it.
It's something that does get overlooked a lot because a lot of the stuff it's like, oh, thermostats, it's for racks, you know, and not necessarily. It's very rare for it to be thought of as thermostat individual animal instead of thermostat multiple animals. I could only imagine like us ball python keepers and stuff like, let me set up my 317 thermostats. Like I'd be poor. I'd be in the poorhouse. I couldn't do this anymore. I can't buy that many thermostats.
Dude, it is nice. Like I was showing like on mine here, I'll pull it up again once. Like with the Herpstat 4, it shows each probe because I've got each probe named for the enclosure that it's at. And it shows each probe and what temp it's at and everything. I mean, you can see the racks. Like, I love it. I need to get more. I need to get everything else converted over to the spider web.
That could be a cool little feature that he's talking about. Just like under the edit animal where you assign the rack. If you've got your spider web stuff hooked up, you could assign a rack and assign a probe. Be like, oh, it's hooked up to. So like, even though it's like a ball python in a rack, you still know it's on probe number 4 of your Herpstat of your Herp 4 number 3, and so when I look at that animal, this is about what his temperature should be. So I mean, I see that in there. That'd be a good one. Like if you can do like a little write-up about that, throw it on the suggestion board. Like and like I was saying, if you get some interactions on it, that's something we can look at because the data's there. It's just putting in a little bit of work with building the connection between the animals and the sensors. And we got to look at coding. How much is it? Because sensor push, we don't get paid for the integration for the sensor push or anything like that. Is it a lot of coding to freaking add the back and forth on the data and stuff like that, where it's like it's going to affect our subscription price because of this, the data feed that has to go back and forth. I don't know. A lot of that has to do with the development side. We can look at it. I'll give you a good solid that one.
Yeah, see, I forgot Jason does reticks and stuff. So yeah, I it's more of the individual enclosure thing. Hey,
yeah, it's a good one. We've been looking for like how do we reach out and be more versatile for people who do things different ways than ball python keepers. We've been working a lot with gecko breeders this year. And a lot of what works for ball python breeders doesn't necessarily work for gecko breeders. We were popping out two, the same animal over and over again before the first one even hatches. And like, so there's like system changes had to happen for stuff like that. And the reticulated python community, a lot of those, was like all of their adults are in enclosures. So, like how do we make it better and more intuitive for them to reach out to a lot of those people and to be, better for the whole reptile hobby and not just one smaller group of the reptile hobby. So all that feedback's good. A lot of people don't want to throw something up on the suggestion board, and they're like, well, no one wants to do that. But you never know. Like, at first I started off with this idea and I was like, I don't know what he's talking about. But now that I sit here and talk it out, I'm like, oh, I get that. Oh, that's actually really good. That's a smart idea. Bam, I can pull up my animal right here from my reptile expo from the hotel where I can't see my snakes and be like, oh, yeah, this animal's good. This animal's good. Let me look through their tanks, So that's nice.
Is there any animal or any snakes, lizards, whatever that you guys are looking for more data on as far as populating into Husbandry Pro as far as animal options? Because I know there for a while, like, you guys were looking for, I guess it was hog noses. I think you guys probably got that notched out pretty good by now, though. Was there any species you're looking for in specific that maybe there's any listeners?
We've been looking for. Been looking for a long time for isopods, somebody to do all the invertebrates and stuff, do our spiders and stuff, because there's just so many different spiders and isopods and everything. But basically what we need is someone to build out their system, and then we can copy it. We have the ability there to add them all in there and stuff like that. But, we either need and it has to be, extremely credible. We have to have this information from someone who's an expert in the field, who I can confirm is an expert in the field through some kinds of channels before I can upload this stuff to the system, or we will immediately get flamed for, uploading wrong information or something, we did a big one for our blood python, short tails and stuff like that. Our database is more up to date, I think, than any database you can find for them. Because we worked with one, I forgot the name of the guy, but he was a good sized breeder, well respected. I was able to vet him out, and he's like, "Yo, man, I'll go in and I'll set them all up, and I'll add all these genetics that you don't have in there."
Was it Elijah?
Huh?
Elijah from Juggernaut, possibly, or
I
know he's like probably one of the biggest. At least he's the biggest short-tailed python breeder that I can think of.
You just gonna make me sound like a jerk on the air, man. Like, I don't remember nobody. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Anyone listening to this right now thinks I remember their name, I apologize right now for not remembering your name. And if you think I remember your name, I hope that you're right. I pray that I'll be better.
The names are the one thing that always gets me. Like,
I'll remember your animals' names before I'll remember your name. Like, I trained dogs professionally for years. I have a stack this big of dogs that have gone through training all the way up to advanced levels with me. And my daughter can show them to me like flashcards, and I can name every freaking dog, every one of them that I trained. And I could not tell you probably 10 pet parents' names from when I was a dog trainer. I feel bad, but I did door-to-door sales for 5 years. I was a dog trainer in a retail environment for, the better part of a decade. I'd worked conventions for a decade selling custom knives, custom knives, dogs, horses, swap meets, freaking sale barns. I mean, everyone in the world looks familiar to me, like at this point in time. There was a point in time in my life where my goal was to meet 100 new people every single day, and I usually exceeded my goal. And it's like system overload. I feel like I'm just full. Like,
well, I run into that at shows. People come up and they say a hi and they start talking to me. And folks, I will be completely upfront and honest. If I do not talk to you on a regular basis, chances are I don't remember your name because my memory sucks that bad. And there's some people that I've talked to them for I don't know how long, and I'm just now like getting their name stuck in my head. And it's so bad. I feel so bad, so terrible about it sometimes, but it's just my head's just so full of like everything.
I've lost sleep over it sometimes. Like I feel bad. Like the worst one that is a standout incident, and I will never forget this person again, and they will not shop with me. They don't even look at my table anymore. And I feel like just a horrible person. There was this person at my table I was at a Reptilia Nation show, I think in Houston, and it was a busy expo, and I see them. I see the light in their eyes. They see the light in my eyes. And I'm like, I recognize this person. I've talked to this person before. Definitely. Not 100% sure if they bought a snake or not, but I know I've talked to them before. They look vaguely familiar. There's people who talk to you, they'll talk to you every single expo 8 times a year, never buy a snake from you. And you're like, oh, I recognize that person. And you'll be like, they must have bought a snake from me. No, they didn't. But it's like, I saw these people and he's looking around and I was like, hey man, you hunting anything specific today? And he's like, nah, I'm just looking. And I was like, what kind of projects you working on? And he looked up at me and he said, ultra male. And then he looked back down and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I like ultra male stuff. He was like, yeah. And I was like, well, what kind of ultra male stuff you got at home? And he's like, I've got a few. Have a nice day. And turned around and just walked off. And I was like, so weird. And my daughter's like, Dad, you don't remember him? And I was like, I mean, vaguely, he looks somewhat familiar. And she's like, he's bought like 4 different ultra male snakes from you in the last 2 years. I was like, really? And she's like, yes. She's like, I sold him a couple of them. It's like, you didn't buy them from me. You bought a couple for my daughter, which I wasn't involved in the transaction at all whatsoever.
Yep.
And then and my daughter's all like, yeah. She's like, he just comes up, he looks, he's like, oh yeah. And then I'm like, I remember he's a guy, he comes up and he's like, oh, that's nice. I'll take it. I don't remember that person very well. It was it was a good sale. Like, I love that customer to death, like no care and maintenance involved, but like I just didn't remember. And they were so hurt and so offended because they had bought multiple snakes from me. And like, I just legitimately, like, they looked really familiar.
Well, see, I think people and everybody that's listening, like, you've got to keep in mind how many people at a show we see in a day. And depending what your mental mindset is, a show is a blur. But like, there's times like, I just like, there's certain people that stand out that I do remember, but then there's other, like, but it depends when those people come by.
Yeah. Did they talk to
when
there,
processing? Like, if someone comes by and I've got 5 or 6 other people at the table looking at stuff, and you're trying to talk to me and I'm trying to carry on a conversation with you at the same time as helping everybody else that's at the table, chances are I'm not retaining anything as what the hell's going on, because I've got too much going on in my head at the moment to process. I'm just trying to make sure everyone's happy and,
And more often than not, if they're all like, oh, yeah, I got this from you. If you can tell me what snake you got from me and where, I will remember you immediately, like the whole conversation and everything.
Yep.
But until then, you're like, it's a familiar face. And you could be someone who I talk to friendly. Like there's several people I'm in, and I don't mind. There's people who talk to me every show. They stop, they say hi, they have nice little chit chat, who've been, who have seen me tens of times a year for several years now, who have never bought a single animal from me, and like quite a few of them now. Like I know, I'm like, okay, I'm starting, I remember you now. It's been so many times, but it's like, there'll be people who have lots of information. I've talked to people for an hour or two, explaining to them how to do their whole setup, everything like that, had nice, long, lengthy conversations with them. They looked at an animal and everything. And then they're like, oh, okay, thank you. Walk off, buy an animal somewhere else. Yep. And then I see you at the next expo. In my head, oh, yeah, I remember talking to that guy about buying a snake. You must have bought a snake from me.
Dude, I think almost everybody's guilty of it, though. Like, we can't retain everything that goes on the show. It's too much.
Yeah.
Like, way too freaking much.
12,000 people came through NRG last weekend, and it's like insane.
Dude, that's a shit ton of people. Yeah, that's a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, it's one of the biggest shows of the year around here.
Oh, okay. You see, our big ones are like Gettysburg, Hamburg's a big one, Oaks is a big one. So yeah, a couple but our big ones aren't. I don't think they're pulling 12,000 people coming through. I mean, you're talking a couple thousand, but not 12.
We got NARBC here, so I'm we got that big show here, and they're anywhere from real numbers probably 5 to 15,000, like in their heydays. Like I don't know that they're pulling 15 right now in the Dallas shows, but I don't know the exact numbers. They don't release them, but like Ryan usually releases his number after the show. Troy and Nick have been pretty good about releasing their numbers. Like, so from what I've seen, you throw it like in the middle of a city center, not these small shows where, it's like, oh, it's this town, but it's really like 30 minutes outside of the major city, like when you have it at like a main venue, like NARBC does, right smack dab in the middle of Houston, Dallas, or a major metropolitan area where you can fill, 100+ vendors and get like all the money and stuff. Those shows will bring like 10,000. You can bring 10,000 people if they spend the money on advertising. So like our Houston show, like I think San Antonio, Ryan from Reptilian Nation did a San Antonio show this year, and I want to say it was 7,000 through the door, which, for a first show, that's really good. I think Houston, the best he ever did, like 1 year, I think he did 15. But Dallas usually is like, I think like 8,000, 10,000 is like normal for the NARBC show around here.
Okay. See,
but
down there, though, you guys probably don't have a show every other freaking week, though, do you? Like, I'm assuming, oh, you do? So everywhere's like that then now at this point. Okay.
I just did show number 33 for the year, bro. 33. Do you know how many of those shows I drove more than 4 hours away for? 8.
Oh, wow.
And there was probably more than 8 shows that were less than 4 hours away that I turned down that I didn't do. And especially now, you get, it's like being a teenager in school and stuff. You put it in wherever you can. You just like, hey, I can come to an expo here. You'll take me. I'll come to an expo here. And you sign up for all the expos and you're like happy to get in somewhere. Because a lot of these things are on weights. And then it's like, oh, okay, I've been doing this for a little bit. I've got into shows that like, oh, I waited a year to get in this one. Like there's a show I waited 2 years to get in and, bugging people, begging, trying to get in there. And usually when you're waiting to get in those shows, you get in them and you find out why you had to wait because it's good. There was money there. Nobody wanted to leave. You go into like Lone Star Dallas, like you couldn't pay me to miss that show. My wife went and vended that show for me. My wife hates this stuff. She's okay with snakes. She'll hold a snake. She's not scared of them. But, her main thing we started is like, I'm not doing nothing. Very begrudgingly, I can get her to come sit there and talk to me a little bit sometimes while I do snake stuff. And she'll be like, bring me one of my white snakes, peasant. And she wants a loose, she wants my leucistic Colombian rainbow boa now. That's her favorite.
Oh, okay.
She like hold a snake and watch me do snake stuff. Like she ain't doing nothing. And whenever like there was a show that lined up I had to do for Husbandry Pro and it was on Lone Star Dallas. And I told her about it and I looked at her and, and it's so serious. My wife looked at me and she's like, I guess I've got to do a reptile expo. Didn't even skip a bit. She knew. I didn't have to say anything. I'm like, you can't lose that spot. Like you don't leave. You leave. Yep. Someone else is going to get in there. It could take you 2-3 years to get back in there.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's 1 or 2 shows that might have a little bit of a wait list, but around here anyway, for the most part, if you want in, you can basically get in.
See, and that's the problem is like the people who are like desperate can get in there too. If there's if it's not hard to get into, anybody can get into it. Like, oh man, I can't do anything. I got to come dump these snakes. I got to come have a fire sale. So those are the shows where you do the worst. You got the most competition, the people who are in the, most desperate, who can't get in the harder to get into shows, or the shows you have to drive for and stuff like that. And so like, it's rough. Those are the shows, unfortunately, I've had to drop. It's because it's like, a lot of those are my favorite shows and, nice areas and stuff. But, it's they're entry-level shows versus like your mid-level shows. And so like moving to my mid-level shows has just been the absolute bread and butter difference this year in, doing better than just keeping my head above water.
Yeah. Well, I know like for starting out, and this is for everybody to know as well, for starting out for 2024, I will be vending for the very first time at the York Fairgrounds at the York Reptile Show. So I think that's, where's my phone? I think that's, oh, hell, what's the date on that? It's January 11th, I think. Yeah, January 11th will be my first show of the year for 2025. And then the weekend after that is Repticon. So that's a 2-day show. So I will be at Repticon. They're in Ammonium. But and then
you do good at Repticons up there?
The last Repticon I didn't do bad. Like I've done pretty decent, but I only do. See, here's my thing. Whenever a Repticon rolls around, I don't have the stock to justify having 2 tables. So I normally I end up having like 2 displays basically by the time Repticons roll around. So it's I don't have a big
stuff when you're low on inventory.
What's that?
Yeah, and it sucks trying to sell stuff when you're low on inventory too.
It does. It does. So like a lot of these, like a lot of shows, I'll just go with full like 3 displays if I can. 3 displays, 1 table. Like that's it. Just like I can't justify, you know, getting a second table for what I have, you know, for the most part. Now at Gettysburg, I go all out. That's kind of like that one show where I try to have a little bit more of a wow factor.
Yeah.
And I spread out a little bit more with that one as well. But then last Gettysburg, I think I had 4 full displays there too. So, but that's like, you know, depending which Gettysburg it's at, I'm hitting my peak. Like I had, you know, I had the 2 carpet clutches. So I had a shit ton of carpets with me. I had a decent amount of balls. Like, you know, it kind of just depends on what time of year it hits. But yeah, like Repticon normally is just like 1 table. But I've done these.
All the shows that everybody talks the worst about are the shows that I make the most money. Everybody's like, don't do Repticons. They're dirty. They're dirty and they let in everything and it's just bad and stuff. And I went to Repticon the first time. It was my first show ever. First show I ever vended for Reptiles was a Repticon. And like I was so nervous because like I had somebody message me when he found out I was doing it, and I ain't shady. I ain't throwing his name out there, you shady bastard. But told me, don't ever come try to set up next to me at a show if you're going to be the type of person who would go set up at Repticon, and that's what, you know, that's the level of business you want to run. And I was just like, I'm getting like hate messages about this. These people are serious. Like, don't do Repticon. Repticon's bad. You know, and I found out a lot of it's just because like they're friends with the promotions that are around there and stuff like that. And it's promotion drama and stuff like that, which I try to stay out of. You know, like I know all the promoters. I love them all. I have a friendly relationship with every one of them, but, you know, I got to go where it's best for my business. Yeah. And so I was like, you know, I'm going to try it out. It's where I could get in at the time. I got lucky and got in. And I did not outperform my first show at Repticon for almost 2 years. Like it was my best show for like 2 years. It totally like, I was just like, quitting my job. I'm a professional snake breeder for the rest of my life. I'm going to be rich. I'm going to be rich. I had 1 table and I made $1 million. And I was like, you know, like it was just so great. And then I realized it wasn't like that at all the shows. And it's like all the show and the people who were at the shows talking all the smack to me about going to these other shows weren't making good money at the shows they were at. And I went to do the shows with them and I wasn't making money at those at some of those shows either. And I'm like, I'm going back to this show. I'm going to go back to Reptiles. And they're like, oh, well, I can't get in there. Or like, one guy told me, he's like, oh, you know, the real reason I won't do that show is because, you know, I've been doing this a long time and I've been doing this too long to be in the back room. I won't go somewhere if I'm not in the front room. And because our Repticon's got like 4 different rooms and it's really weird.
Okay.
And sometimes people, if they're in a side room, you know, and I will say sometimes the traffic flows weirder. Sometimes one room doesn't get as much traffic. You know, it can be a little hit or miss. But a lot of it I feel like has to do because like I started off in the back room. My first show I ever did was in the worst spot in the backest room that gets the least traffic, you know, but I printed off signs ahead of time. I freaking taped them up down the wall in the hallway, you know, like, hey, Reptiles this way too, people. Come on over here. You know, I did the extra effort and I freaking murdered it there. And like, and I see people in that spot, you know, like all the time. It's like, it's like the noob spot. People get there and they want out of there so bad. They're like, I hate this spot. It's back here it's in the back room of all the series of rooms at the end of the corridor. And so they're like, people don't make it all the way back here. And I'm like, you put good enough signage where people get all excited. They're like, man, you're not there yet. Oh, there's still more. They're like, they're ignoring all these other people's tables to come back here and buy something from.
Yep.
How do they get back there? They're done. They've done fought through the crowd. They're not leaving here without buying something to fight back through the crowd. You know, it's a mindset. It's a mindset, you know, on the sales, you know, like you put effort into it, you know, the shows you're selling yourself a lot. That's why I like them. I like talking. I love interacting with people. I love talking to people. I love getting people who've never touched a reptile, owned a reptile or anything. That's the biggest thing, you know, like I love that, is getting a new person. I set a personal, or I beat a personal goal 2 weeks ago. My last show I did in Texoma, the end of November, I think it was. And I did 9 snakes on Saturday to 9 brand new snake owners. It was a personal record. I did not sell a single snake all day that wasn't to a first-time reptile owner. And I was just like, dude, that was pretty awesome.
Oh, dude, I bet. Now, I don't know if you've had it happen to you, but I know a lot of times people that want to get their first snake, I've had it be where people are like, oh, they've always point out the carpet. I'm just like, no, that is not the first one you want to get. And then they're like, well, why not? And I'm like, I try to tell them, I would love to get you hooked on these and I would love to sell it to you. It's like, but there's a little bit of growing pains that come with these little guys. It's like I can get him out and he will be completely fine here. So you will take him home and the switch will flip and you will call me within a week going, why is my snake a jackass? I was like, this is how it plays out. I was like, it's like, you got to just like go with one of the balls, get used to having a snake, then come up to the carpet level.
Yeah, like I've sold some to people as the first reptile they bought on a couple of rare occasions, but they were rare instances where you're talking about people who knew other people who had reptiles. Like I worked in a reptile store. I'm used to handling animals. I'm looking for something a little second level. And even then I'm like, we got these IJs over here, maybe not jungle. Let me talk to you about some similarities and differences. And a lot of it is, a lot of it is, like whether or not you're scared to handle this animal or not. And so I'll tell them, I'm like, they're known to bite you when they're little and they're that size. They like to bite you. When you go to get him out, he's probably going to bite you. Do you want to get him out? You mind sanitizing for me? And they're like, yeah, I want to check him out. Okay. I might sell this person a carpet for their first snake. If they're all like, yeah, all right. And I'm like, this is somebody who can handle a carpet and not get tore up. But I tell them it's going to bite them. Because if I tell you it's going to bite you and you open that thing and you're like, so they bite and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, it's probably not for you. Let me tell you right now where you fucked up. No. When you opened it, let me show you right now where you went in. They just said, you're my bitch. That carpet python, they look at you and they're like, yeah, you ain't ready for this. But you just go straight in. They're like, it's dad. It's dad. He's getting me. He's got me now.
Yeah. I like the two that I have left. The one, he's an absolute little gem. You take him to a show and he acts standoffish, but when you pull him out, 98% of the time he's chill with you getting him out at the show. The other one that I have available, which is probably they're both going to be gorgeous, and the one that's got a little bit more spunk to him might be a tad nicer looking than the other one that's calm. But even once you get him out and you let him have his little, what's that?
I'll keep the nicer one for a breeder. I'll sell the prettier one.
Oh, see, well, the thing is, they're both for sale though. That's the thing. I don't need it. Dude, I've got 5. I kept 5 freaking carpets back this year. 5.
Yeah, but the real thing is like, have you figured out the true carpet game yet? Is that you're not going to keep all of those. You're holding them back. Give it another 6 to 12 months. You're going to sell probably maybe half of them, right? No. For me, I'm over here. I'm like, all right, I got this one's from the clutch. Like they're shedding. Or like, all right, these are my standouts. I pull that group back, and then I'm growing that group up. And then I'm picking the standouts from the standout, and for the male that I'm picking, I've for this one group that I'm growing for some IJ, for some xanthic granites. I got I got 4 standout males or 5. From the 5, I picked the 2 best. From the 2 best, I'm keeping the one that's nicer. I'm keeping the one that doesn't tag me, that I can just reach and grab him out, and he's like, "Hey, Dad, what's up?" And I don't care that other one's a little bit nicer. I'm selling that one. And he's going on the table because I'm keeping the sweetest carpet, because I feel like too many times in carpet pythons, people just keep the prettiest ones. And I'm trying to make these little shits be nicer. Like Mike Cross, a lot of my jungle stuff came from Mike Cross, and he crossed Mike Cross crossed a lot of pure lines, so they're pure jungles, which I like, I like the pure, but he crossed them, 3 different lines and stuff. So you got really, really strong genetic pool. And from, the small sampling I've had of, baby jungles that I've ran through and stuff, like the pure lines tend to be more assholes than like these crosses that I've got. Like they've got a stronger gene pool. You get less kinking in babies, less infertility, less slugs, less birth defects. Seems to be a better temperament, anecdotal evidence suggests better temperament as well. And it's been seen in other species whenever you start getting thinner genetic pools that it can have effects on temperament and stuff like that. So I really feel like crossing the lines, keeping your pure stuff pure, but, like picking the best of this and this, and not just picking for appearance and stuff, and throwing in temperament and stuff like that. Like, what do you do with feeders that bite? You feed them off and you get them out of your lines. After a generation, nobody bites anymore. Why does nobody do it with reptiles? It can be done. It's a thing.
Oh no, I agree, dude. Like, I only kept one male out of the first carpet clutch. Didn't even keep a female out of the first clutch of this year. Just because there wasn't one that stood out to me. But the one male I kept back, like he screamed at me from day one. So, and he's mellow. Looks absolutely freaking. He almost looks diamond with his level of tipping. He's diamond looking. But anyway, then the second carpet clutch, I kept a 2.2 out of it, but they came out just black and white. Like how normally they're gray, like it got a little bit of gray going on it. Dude, there was no gray. It was black and white. So as they're starting to color up, dude, like, oh no, they're starting to get their yellows starting to come in now. But the one female, this is why I'm saying I'm keeping them all. The one female, she's got a crazy badass erratic pattern to her. And I posted a picture up of her, and Nick Mutton even commented that that's going to be a stunning looking freaking snake. So of course I got to keep the one that the carpet guy commented on. Like if Mutton's giving it her stamp of approval at that age, I'm hoping he's right. The other female, she's a little bit more plain, but she's just very symmetrical with her banding. Great looking color so far. So it's like, all right, it adds in a different bloodline for me. She looks really good. Like I can have my erratic pattern. I can have my nice symmetrical shit. It's like, all right, we got females
so much too. Like, now, this last little clutch. I mean, these are Mike Cross babies that I sold here, but I talked him out of freaking like half of one clutch and like almost like a third of another clutch that he was holding back. And so like I'm sitting here growing them up, and I'm like, this is my whole baby. This is my whole baby. This is my whole baby. And so like it's just been crazy because it's like I got one boy. It's like he's really nice, and he's got like tipping across the back. Just tipping on tipping on tipping. But then I've got this other boy who's just got like these dark patches, like in banding with crazy tipping on the sides. But like the contrast is so insane. It's like you look at him from the top and he's just like so dark, and then the sides so lit up, and this other one's just like completely different from the same thing with the same parents. And I'm like, same clutch. And I'm like, man, it's like this is a holdback to make ones that look like this, and this is a holdback to make ones that look like this.
Exactly. See, that's where I run into my freaking issue at. Because the one male, he's like, I don't think he realizes what he is. Like, you can reach in, you don't even have to give him a tap or anything with a hook. Because normally I do, give him a little tap with the hook, let him know, hey, we're not feeding, we're holding. And you can just reach in and grab him out, no problem. And he has no idea he's a carpet python. Like, it just doesn't register. But he's, again, very symmetrical, not a lot of tipping. Now, the other male I'm holding back, his brother, symmetrical, but a crap ton of tipping. But it's very banded, though. So it's like, it's just a problem. I have an addiction, and I can't help myself.
I've been able to focus one stream pretty good just from going like, okay, I like this flavor. I'm just going to lean heavy into it because I haven't seen anyone. I'm sure there's somebody out there who's doing it, but I haven't seen anyone who's leaning into just like everything having that same kind of freaking head stamp with the shadowed. And like, I'm going to say it. We're not having this discussion on the air. But that Dewatton head stamp, you know, where it's shadowed out in there, you know, and they get the, you know, it all comes in like in the shadowy area in there. Well, there's lots of them that have it. A lot of your diamond crosses have it. A lot of these pure jungles and stuff have it. And Mike's got a few that he's been breeding specifically for it, that he's been holding back all of them and hasn't been showing anybody. And I talked him out of some of like his best ones, a couple of them, male and a female, that are, you know, that they're getting that freaking like, as they don't have it when they're babies, it's a solid blacks and stuff. But then as they age, it's shadowing out and they're getting that cool shadow head stamp. And so like, I've been able to select a nice male and a nice female for that. And I'm like, okay, these other ones, they didn't have it. Boom. That's my cuts. These have it. I'm going to try to perpetrate that. And I want to try to get some form of that in pure lineage of different species, because I feel like it has more of like a morphology type of thing. And he's even talked about it like, oh, I'm only getting them from this one female and I'm getting them, you know, and you can't tell when the babies, you got to grow them up. Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
That's what he's talking about, folks.
And they'll get it in the eye stripes too. And like the ones he's been popping, it's like they end up with like yellow nostrils. Like freaking the boy I've got has like one yellow nostril scale on each one. And then the female, the whole nostril on both sides is freaking yellow too. And so like it messes with that. And so like I'm leaning into that on my pure jungles. And then on my Xanthic granite project I've got, now that they're aging up, I've found some of them are developing the shadowed in head stuff too. And I'm like, oh, well, that's my holdback. And so like that was one of the better ones anyways. And I feel like I don't know, I just get nerdy about it because I see subtle differences and stuff like that because, you know, like I'm a huge ball python nut and all the subtle genetics. And like I, you know, probably pride myself a little too much on like being super good at spotting a lot of subtle genetics and a lot of things that are hard to identify. And I just feel like there's so much morphology and stuff that is overlooked in carpet pythons and unproven, unworked, undocumented. And whenever you talk about it in the general community, it's shunned away from so much for some reason. I feel like, oh, more, no, we don't want to be breeding for morphology. We want pure lines and stuff. And I'm like, but I can still see this one doesn't look like that one. About half of them look like this. About half of them don't. That's a morph. Or there's a chance that that's a morph. Let me, you know, and then I get nerdy and then I want to prove it. Next thing you know, I've got a bunch of snakes.
See, my problem is like I love the erratic patterns and the tipping stuff. And normally one baby, and it's been consistently so far. I mean, granted, it's only been 2 seasons of producing them. But normally one baby from the one pairing, which is Xander de Lagatha, will produce one baby that is just erratic pattern, massive amount of tipping. And that every year that's been my holdback is that crazy pattern erratic animal. It'll throw it. That's the only pairing also with that male being paired to Xander there that will throw any striped babies. And then, with Xander thrown to Celeste like I did for last year, there was not one striped baby out of that whole entire clutch. It is only if Xander thrown to Lagatha, which Lagatha has a stripe on her dorsal. It's not a full, it's not the greatest stripe, but it's not a bad looking one either. But you know, she's the one that'll throw a striped baby here and there. So I don't know if it's genetics, if it's line breeding. Like, I think that's where it gets me really interested, and I love it because like I want to start working towards like an all black carpet.
Well, and I feel like in carpets too much people want to say that's the line or that's the locale specific, and like they want to dismiss certain levels of morphology to selective breeding and call stuff lines that's not necessarily the line. You know, it's like, if I breed it. And I get it half the time out of this one. And when I breed them back to each other, I get better quality examples and a certain level of percentages. Is like, I don't understand if y'all don't know how to work morphology and genetics work. But that's not how line works.
No, I do think, though, that there is a lot of missing stuff that has been overlooked throughout time with them.
but I'm definitely learning. I'm freaking so new on carpets. It's not funny. You know, like I've had
I'm
one girl I've been holding on to forever, you know, but like, this is my first year breeding a lot of carpets. I'll have 7 girls, you know, of different locales and stuff breeding. So, you know, this is
oh shit.
my first year. Everything I've done before has been dappling. And even my clutches I've sold this year were through partnerships I did with respected breeders, you know, like Mike Cross and stuff. I reached out to him, told him what I was doing, showed him pictures of the animals I have, bought some animals from them to use for breeding programs, and was able to sweet talk them out of some animals to, like I got one of my buddies to send me a clutch right out of the egg and let me shed them out and everything, you know, and like he talked me through the whole process and everything. So I was able to kind of dabble and get my feet wet and get some extra experience in under my belt because my pairings didn't go. And I was like, well, I set up for it. I was all excited. I did all the research. Like, I want to start some babies, you know, because like it was research here. I was doing a lot of hard decisions on what types of species I wanted to stay into, you know, like how is it to rear the babies? How is it to do the breeding? You know, how is it, you know, and there's some stuff on the table, you know, mountain king snakes. If you know someone who needs some mountain king snakes, feel free to reach out to me. I've got some mountain king snakes. They're beautiful. Not for me. No, man, they're so freaking little. I'm not beheading pinkies to feed them. I'm not shoving a lizard's tail up its butt. And I'm just like, I'm over it. I'm not doing it. There hasn't been enough interest in them on the table. Like vendors love them. People who, you know, an informed snake customer, you know, but there's just some stuff like that. It's like, it looked good. It was nice. I went for it because it was niche and nobody had it, or is a little bit more rare. But then you do it and it's like, that's why there's not very many people doing it.
Well, I know, like, I feel as though the carpet python stuff's on an uptick at the moment. There's a lot of people getting into it. Now, maybe it's just, how do I want to put it? Maybe I'm noticing the uptick because I try to push them so hard. That makes sense. Like, you know, because everybody always tells me in my group of buddies here, you know, that whenever they hear it, like they hear me talk about like the balls, they're like, you know, you're passionate about the ball pythons. Like, but when you talk about the carpets, it's like a totally different switch got flipped. And it's a completely different level of passion. And they're right. It made me step back and think, you know what? You're right. Like there's something with the carpets that has me a little bit more passionate about them as opposed to the balls. Well, so I don't know if because of that passion, that's why I noticed more of an uptick, because I'm trying to get more people to want to like share in that enjoyment and passion.
You're getting people involved in it. You know, you're sharing knowledge, and so much of people staying away from certain species is misinformation and stuff like, oh, they get huge. I'm like, come here, let me talk to you for a second. What do you know? All right, let me tell you what you know and why it's wrong. Like that's this over here. Let's show this. And there's a reason I work a lot of jungle stuff, and it's smaller lineage. I do have one girl, and she's a jungle diamond cross. She comes from one of the bigger lines. But when I breed her with the knowledge that she comes from a bigger line where they typically grow bigger, and she's not from one of the smaller subsets on the jungles. And I know through the research that I've done, some of the lines of jungles can be a bigger carpet or a smaller carpet. But then I also know your coastals tend to be your bigger carpet, your bradlights tend to be your bigger carpet, your IJs generally tend to stay, in general, the smallest, even though you can find ones that are technically smaller that are jungles. So, you know, like you can start informing people of this, and me trying to do it without vomiting too much information that I confuse them is the hard part sometimes, you know, like.
Oh, it is.
It's like, look, you don't want a big one. That's why you're staying away from them. Let me show you these IJs. Let me show you this selective line bred of jungles that I've got. You know, what's your temperament? You need something that's a little easier, more on the beginner side of handling. You're going to need to stay over here with these IJs. And that's one of the reasons I'm doing a lot of the jungle diamond crosses is because
diamonds are typically a little bit more mellow.
Diamonds are the sweetest. They are hands down the nicest, sweetest. I've got one of like every major locale, you know, that, you know, except for the obscure stuff, you know, like some of the gelatins and stuff. But like all the majors, I've got a coastal, I've got a diamond, I've got all of them. And in general, all the diamonds are just freaking puppies comparatively. And every jungle diamond I've ever been able to put my hands on is just a puppy, like just like my IJs, and some of them even nicer than my IJs. And it's like, so if you've got the budget for it, go with your diamonds. But you don't have the budget for it, you know, maybe stay away from those coastals over there that look real nice and that, you know, that albino one, no, that's probably not going to be for you. Come over here and look at this IJ. You can just snatch it right out. It's about like a lot of the IJs I work with and stuff, the captive bred, especially, a couple generation captive bred IJs, because they have a lot more wild DNA in them, because we still get them, are freaking puppies, man. It's like catching a freaking king snake outside, or, a rat snake. Like, I mean, I just snatch them out. I have no problem at all with most of those. Every once in a while, I get one who is, and I've got to tell someone like, oh, this one is a standout. It's a little nippier and stuff. But
yeah,
like, I never advertise them as a beginner, but if I was going to, be like, yeah, look at these IJs. Like,
well, I know, like, with anything that's been produced by Xander, because he's right there at about like 7 foot, and a 7 foot male jungle, that's freaking big. He's a big boy, and that's one that's over at Nathan's place right now. But typically, even like Ragnar, the one male that I'm using, it's gonna be his first year. Like, I've had multiple people tell me, they're like, dude, he's huge for how old he is. It's like, well, I tell them, well, dad's big for a male. Dad's mom was an 8 foot female. So he's got some, some genetics to be thrown out there for bigger stuff. And then my holdback that he had sired, that's all tipped out and looks very diamond-esque. He's huge. But he dwarfs everything else that I've held back. As within that same time frame of being, hatched from the 2 clutches. And it's just like, again, like, that's going to be a big boy. It's like,
yeah, like, I mean, I didn't know that, like, I've just recently been reading up on that lately, in like the last couple months about the different sizes on the jungles and stuff. Cause like, it always confused me, like, Google it. It's like, give me tell AI to give you a list of all of the carpet pythons and put them in order by size. And no matter how you word the question, it will tell you that a jungle python's the biggest and that a jungle python's the smallest.
Yep. Well, so
that got me squirreling on stuff, and I'm like, and that's where I realized, like, oh, hey, there's all these different little sub lines and localities of jungles where they came in there from. And if you look and talk to the people about their breeders and stuff, and like, oh, hey, look, like, I know Mike Cross has got this female who's like 8-9 years old, and she's 6 foot. And he bred her to a male who's like 7 years old and like 5 foot, and then it's like, oh, I got this other guy over here, he fed the snakes from a different line over here. Or Mike is good for example. He's got some that are like 7-8 foot that came from a different lineage and stuff. And it's like, it's easy to see where your stuff came from. And so you can get some big ones, you can get some little ones.
Yeah.
Like my wow girl's 5.5 years old, and she's maybe 5.5 feet. She's definitely ready to breed. She's thick and stuff, and she's not even 6 foot.
Well, see, like Hercules, the boy, you can't see him now. I think he might be he probably found Celeste, if I'm lucky. He's about, I'm going to say, almost a year younger than what Xander is. Dude, it's not even a competition. Like, freaking Hercules is like way, way, way smaller. Jason, yeah. It's not that, dude. Like, all right, I'll try to watch this. I'll probably get.
And I don't know. Like, I've been told that the diamonds aren't super huge snakes, but man, all these freaking jungle diamond crosses I see are just like, they get massive. And I don't know if it's just, I've been told it's like, it's so much these people are overfeeding them and stuff like that. But I've got a Shuit line female or Shuit lineage female sitting there right next to a jungle diamond girl who's actually a pure Shuit to a diamond cross. And that freaking diamond girl is like lapping her in size, eating on the exact same things in the tub right next to her. She's just putting on size way bigger, way faster.
See, Jason, not bad. Now, this dude's actually going in the shed. So I'm actually surprised I might not have taken a tag, but he's all good.
Where's
you just got work?
That's your one of your holdbacks, right?
Yeah, this is the very tipped out one.
I want to see the new baby.
I'll show you. I'll have to show you backstage. Actually, those I'm not even getting out. I'll show you. I'll send you pics. But
To be clear, I'm talking about the diamond.
no, I know. But all right, man. Well, hey, it is almost going close to 3 hours.
Yeah, I'm tired. I did an expo all weekend, and I need to go eat dinner or something.
Let's go ahead and call it a night. Everybody, next week's live will be, like I said before, it will be a channel sponsor live. So all the channel sponsors will be on here. Well, maybe not all of them. Hopefully we can wrangle a couple of them on. It'll just kind of be a fun, jolly old Christmas episode. Yeah, don't forget that. Also, Warfel 60, as it's going across the screen there. Use that code. Get your 60-day free trial with Husbandry Pro. Use that HP Shed 10, like Zach put up there, and that'll also get you entered into the contest to win $1,000 store credit to one of five different select breeders that have partnered up for the contest. So definitely make use of that. But Zach, dude, thank you very much, man, for coming out and hanging out with me for almost 3 freaking hours. Greatly appreciate it. This week's video, folks, I don't know what it's going to be on. I've got to film it. For all the channel members, though, the member live will be tomorrow night. So definitely come out and participate if you can, because there are some changes I want to bounce off of you guys as far as, big positive spins for the channel for 2025. So we'll see. Get your feedback, see what you guys think, and hopefully maybe it'll help also get some of the channel members involved a little bit more with the actual lives as well. So we'll see how it goes. Curious to see what everybody's thoughts are on that are members. But that's going to be it, folks. Greatly appreciate all the love and support. Make sure you guys go check out Husbandry Pro. The link is in the description down below. I have it like a couple different places. There's no reason you cannot find that link. But Zach, again, dude, thank you very much I know you had that show today. Appreciate you taking the time out of a busy day. And I know what's like unpacking from a show. I appreciate it, man.
No,
I really
not even done as soon as I get off here.
But everybody, have an awesome rest of the week. Take it easy, stay warm. I know we had snow here today. It actually laid on the ground a little bit, so that was kind of neat. Little early for that crap, but hey, I mean,
send it to Texas.
Dude, you don't want. Dude, do you Texans even know how to drive in freaking snow?
I do.
I was gonna say, if Texas is anything like Tennessee, the second the Tennessee sees snow, like this, the whole state shuts down, from what I'm told. So, but anyway, everybody, have an awesome rest of the week, and I will see you Sunday here, 8 p.m. Eastern, and don't forget to check out the weekly episode as well. But have an awesome rest of the week. I'll catch you next Sunday. Later.
Deuces.